Yeah. Damn kid, always down. While my chin always pointed to the ground. Hang my head when I'm walking around. I wipe tears from my face on my bathroom towel. Until a typhoon came through when I met you. Cloudy days, let the sun through. Now I smile at the sunroof, yeah. Maybe I'm crazy, I'm out of my mind, but nobody makes me come to life like you. Said everything that I do, just know I do it for you. Maybe I'm stupid, ignoring the signs, but you're on my brain like all the time. It's true that even when I dream, just know I'm dreaming of you. Yeah. So I'm fighting for the honor, guts, glam, glory. Without you in my life, I'm feeling more less than Dory. You're everything I ever needed, way more than a shorty. When we're together, all the boring things aren't as boring. So you're the first thing on my mind when I wake up in the morning. And you're the only one I'm checking if you're seeing my stories. You're the reason why I work out. Gotta get what you deserve now. Best biceps and quads, the best sense in jobs. A new house, garage, a poolside massage, some new shoes, barrage. With anything that you wanted, you don't gotta work, just sip on a gin and tonic. And if you need a break, we'll take a trip to the tropics. God damn, you can't say I didn't try. Maybe I'm crazy, I'm out of my mind, but nobody makes me come to life like you. Said everything that I do, just know I do it for you. Maybe I'm stupid, ignoring the signs, but you're on my brain like all the time. It's true that even when I dream, just know I'm dreaming of you. Maybe I'm crazy, I'm out of my mind, but nobody makes me come to life like you. Said everything that I do, just know I do it for you. Yeah, just know I do it for you. Just know I do it for you. And I'm being serious. Snapchats, Instagram stories, even the freaking music, I really be doing this shit to impress you.
Hi, what's going on, everybody? Welcome. Alex here. No David this week. It's his off week. Was going to have a guest, but he apparently was screaming at hooligans and lost his voice. We'll have him on eventually. But how's everybody doing out there? It is Wednesday, July 9th, 2025. I haven't talked to everyone since the 4th of July, so I hope everyone had a happy, safe, healthy 4th of July. Everyone fired off or at least got to watch some fireworks, got to do something cool over the weekend, hopefully on a long weekend. I'm hoping that people didn't work, but we know there's plenty of people in retail and stuff that have to work. So just want to say hello to everybody out there. It's nice always to be jumping back in. Sometimes it's fun to do these solos where it's just me and I am able to just talk, and we're going to do one of our fun little news shows that I like to have every once in a while do, where I just pick a whole bunch of random shit to talk about. Now, it's been a very long time since we've done one of these, so we'll see if I'm rusty on that. But just want to say hello, Squiggles. Always nice to see you over there. Nate, always good to see you as well. Happy to have my team hanging out with me here. It's always good to, you got to have a team, got to have a group with you, got to have a little something. I want to give a shout out to my wife for my awesome Cartoon Network shirt here. She got this for me for Father's Day. My daughter's got me some fun stuff too. That was a few weeks ago, but I decided to rock the shirt. This is the old school with all the cartoons. You got like Johnny Bravo hanging out down there and things like that. So really enjoy this bad boy. But let's get into all the fun stuff. Nate coming in right away saying Trump fucked up. We'll get to that. We will get to the Don. Because there's a lot of us radical rights that he really likes that are pretty pissed at him. But we'll get over a whole bunch of that stuff. We got a lot to talk about today. So I'm going to start off. So typically, I start off talking about I want to see the Epstein client list, but that's going to be one of our topics today. So we'll get to that. We will get to all that. But I want to first ask for everyone to keep the Texas Hills, the flood victims in your hearts. They're in the recovery phase. Over 100 people dead, including some young kids from that camp. And I'm pretty sure there's still like 150 plus missing. We're hearing some of the worst, most harrowing stories coming out of the camp and things like that. And just send prayers at minimum. Send prayers, because the stories that we've heard from sisters being found dead holding hands, 13, 11-year-old sisters holding hands, and they died holding hands, and that's the way that they are. Or another young girl getting to high ground and passing away just sitting at a tree. And it's just some sad stories, some heroic stories as well. First time rescuer from New Jersey, and I believe he was a runner from Ryder, which is a place that I ran against. Saved over 160 people. Just trusting his training, and I heard him do an interview, and Powers, congrats to him for doing his part. But this is just an absolute tragedy. The flash flood rose 26 feet over 50 minutes. It was in the middle of the night. They didn't have a horn system, which I know the mayor and the area, the governor, everyone sounded off saying that this has to be something that happens. That they have an emergency system. They had people warning about the flash floods days before as they watched it, and the evening going in, just sending out blasts. But cell service isn't great when you're in the rural areas. That's first. And not everyone pays attention to those things. You live in those areas, you deal with flash floods all the time. It's like, I'm up here in the Northeast. We hear about a tropical storm or, hurricane power things. And we're just kind of like, whatever. We get snow. So we hear about bad snow. Okay, we're going to hunker in. But you get that one bad one, and that's when the tragedy happens. And just keep the individuals in Texas in our hearts. Make sure that you do what you can. If you can send anything, as always, find the charity that you like. I always like to talk up Mercury One. I think what they do, it's Glenn Beck's place. He's a member. I'm pretty sure he founded Mercury One. I don't know if he's fully involved completely. He definitely promotes it a lot, but I know they're always there. And when you donate to them, you're still going to donate to Helene and Milton victims. They're still there. I'm pretty sure they're at Lahaina now, but they were there for up until this year. And the LA fire victims and things like that, you'll be donating to all those. So, but find the charity you like, find the church. I always, if you want to donate to somewhere that's going to make an impact, find a local church that's accepting donations, specifically for these things. And you will definitely, if you send things, they usually have supply lists. These people need to rebuild their lives. They have daughters that they lost. There's sons, daughters, parents, everything. So definitely do what you can. And if prayer is all you can do, and if you're not the praying type, if just keeping them in your thoughts is what you could do. We say prayer a lot, but some people just aren't the praying type. You could be, Christian as hell. You're not a super prayer guy, or a girl, but if it's just keeping them in your thoughts, and that's enough. That does work. So, it's an awful tragedy. With all the people missing, that makes it worse. At best, I'm hoping that these individuals, these parents, these people that have the individuals missing can get closure and their loved ones can be found. It's 4 days later now, 5 days, because it happened on July 4th. So 5 days later now, the chances of them being alive are very small, but just giving them the closure that they will know where they are and what happened to them is sometimes it's much better than not knowing. So please make sure you go do that. At least keep them in your thoughts. Another quick shout out I want to give, and I'm going to start giving it a little more regular because he's an awesome guy. My buddy, Craig Leopard, he's been on the show before. He runs an organization called Shadow Jumpers. They're a not-for-profit. So he suffers from porphyria, EPP. And porphyria is a wide-ranging spectrum of a disease, but it all shares a characteristic of being allergic to the sun. And his group, Shadow Jumpers, helps out individuals that are allergic to the sun to go on trips, do fun stuff, and things like that. So, well, obviously the Texas hills take precedent. If you can find it in your heart to, also give to people that are allergic to the sun. So my buddy Craig, can go check out shadow jumpers are awesome. Do that. Squiggles coming in saying a company seeded those clouds. So there's a lot of that going on. I did listen. I don't know, Squiggles, if you listen to Glenn Beck at all, but I listened to Glenn Beck today, and he had a person from the company that seeded clouds 2 days before in that area. And you could believe it or not, but he talked about the seeding of the clouds on the second and how cloud seeding works, what they do, all that. He got into detail. And he also talked about how there is protocol in Texas. It's not a federal protocol, it's not a regulated thing, but there is Texas protocol that if there is certain weather patterns that the cloud seeding is done. Now, he did talk about how cloud seeding has been done in the 40s. It's a thing that people pay for, and it's something that farmers pay for and counties and stuff pay for. So it's not this conspiracy that cloud seeding is going on, but um, we'll never find out. You know that. That's the truth. We'll never find out if there was legitimate cloud seeding that caused the tropical storm to sit the way it did. But I mean, if they might have done it in 83 or 87 then, because something like this happened then. They had a big flood. So it could be, you could be correct. It could be cloud seeding. It could be nefarious. I'm never going to cancel it out just because I heard someone on Glenn Beck, right? The guy sounded pretty credible. But again, I'm never just going to trust off there. Could this be a freak weather thing where every once in a while, if a storm gets there and it's bad enough that the jet streams are just mute for a little bit, and it's enough to cause that damage in the Guadalupe because they do have dams and stuff, all that. So it's like, there is that possibility. There certainly is that possibility. So it's like, I don't rule out anything. I'm not going to rule out that the government did some shiesty shit, but I'm also not going to rule out that this is a freak weather accident too. You know, I don't want to sound like a climate change person and blame everything on a government conspiracy either. So it could be either. I'm leaving it up to both. I'm with you, Nate, and I just said we'll never freaking know. We will never know. But what we do know is all the victims and all the stuff, and what we can do is try to help them clean up the best that they can and help them out. Nate G saying it was a mega disaster in Vietnam. Yes. And in other areas, we heard it was a Middle Eastern country that they did flooding because they did a major cloud seeding and it exceeded because it was so dry and stuff like that. It was last year, I think that happened. So it's not like this isn't going on. And like I said, the guy on Glenn Beck addressed that, yes, this is, cloud seeding. He conceded it is a weather manipulation tactic, but he also said that, it is a tactic that is, something that's regularly been done, that they do it as professionally as they can. So again, who do you believe? Who do you not believe? If the government's telling me it, I'm probably not going to believe them. But overall, it's just a tragedy. And if we do find out it was cloud seeding, then, and it was a major thing, then, there's enough people on the internet that have these, big, ways of reaching out to things. But there's also enough people who are just going to say what they say. So Squiggle saying, and I'm on the Gulf Coast. If there's a tropical storm, I'd see it before the people in the center of the state. I mean, that's solid anecdotal evidence. I can't argue that. 100% can't argue that. Nate G saying, I would suggest you read the book called Fixing the Sky by James Rogers Fleming. Can't play God. No, I'll read that. Actually, I'm going to put that. Let me write that down on my notes list here. So, Fixing the Sky by James Rogers. Is this any relation to Ian Fleming of the James Bond fame? Probably not, but I have to ask. But I'll definitely go check that out. I like reading that type of stuff. Now, the thing is, interesting. I keep on bringing the Glenn Beck show up, but I would recommend people go listen to the show today. And specifically if you want to listen to that part, because this guy mentions that he is a man of God and that they are people of God, and they take the part in the Bible where they say to be a shepherd of the earth in a serious sense, where they look at it as if they can bring water to an area that needs the water, they are shepherding the earth and helping the people. And so who knows? It is It is very much, it's touchy. Again, Squiggles, I'm not discounting what you're saying about, you're there, you would see the tropical storm. Like, I get it. I get it. It seems fishy. Um, and again, we'll never truly know, but we also know the government does shit. So there's 100% that. So, but again, if everyone can give, please give. So let's jump in to the fun, to the meat and potatoes of today, because I got a lot to get to. It's already late because you know me. I jump on late. I'm always late. I intended to do this at 9 o'clock. And I then realized that I didn't have a picture made up or a title or anything like that. So it then took me 45 minutes and change to get that done. So here we are, 10 o'clock that night, starting the show. So let's jump in right away. And I want to talk about this New York mayoral race because I think that anyone and everybody is getting it all wrong. And I'm starting to get really annoyed by not only the New York City Republicans, which are feckless and weak and useless, but also the way the national conservatives, Republicans, libertarians, etc., are playing this. Because I think that we are looking at it all wrong. I think that we are giving it the wrong attention. So you look at the poll right here, and this poll is from Interactive Polls. This poll is from today at 8:35 this morning, and it is from New York Post, Slingshot Strategies polls. 1,036 registered voters were polled, and from 7/2 to 7/6, so pretty recently. And in the poll, they had the Democratic candidate and socialist. I won't go because he doesn't call himself a communist, but socialist, Democratic socialist, 35%. He's leading Andrew Cuomo by 10%, who's at 25%, and he's running as an independent. Curtis Sliwa at 14% as the Republican candidate. Eric Adams, independent, 11%. Undecided, 13%. And that has Mamdani going up 4%. Cuomo going is -2%, and Adams losing 36%. I assume since they started polling. So here is my problem here. And here is my major issue with all of the shit going on with the election. That polls, whatever. We're going to get these polls coming up, and it's going to be weekly, maybe even more frequent. Everybody is talking about Mamdani. Now, don't get me wrong. Mamdani's a piece of garbage. He's saying a lot of shit. He's pushing a lot of leftist Marxist things. There's video of him talking about seizing production. He's a community organizer. He's said and sounds very much like an Islamist, right? And the government, grocery stores, a lot of the handouts, a lot of the same shit that leftist Marxists say to get into power. Not surprising, okay? Not surprising. What bothers me is they are focusing so much on Mamdani in the national stage. And if you go even more local, they're talking about what should we do to combat him? Who we need to get behind Adams because Adams can win. He's the incumbent, and he's now Eric Adams is now saying things to sound a little more conservative. So Republicans being the wishy-washy bitches that they are, like they said something like us. Let's accept him. And no, fuck Eric Adams, okay? And then there's Cuomo, who nobody likes. He thought he was going to walk in and kick in the door, and people are now thinking maybe we should back him because now they're seeing Adams polling very low. The forgotten man in this is Curtis Sliwa, who is the Republican candidate. Mind you, this is his third time running. And I know people are looking at it going, he never had a chance the other 2 times he ran. Why should we look at it now? Here is why, people. Here is why. I am making the plea for people in the national conservative media to take the focus off Mamdani. It's okay to talk about him when he says dumb shit. And he's going to say shock stuff coming up because that's what he does. But I would love for all of you, here's to the Blaze, to the Daily Wire, to any of the nerd groups that I follow. I mean, if he wants to come talk on Nerdrotic and Friday Night Tights and Geeks and Gamers, I don't know if he has any knowledge in that stuff, but start talking about him. Have him on all of your Daily Wire shows. Have him on all of your Blaze shows. Tim Cast, bring him on. Patrick Bet David, bring him on. Politically, strategically, this is the best opportunity Republicans have had to get a candidate in. Bloomberg ran as a Republican, but he was very centrist, right? Rudy's the closest thing, Rudy was a conservative that ruled and not ruled, but governed like a conservative, like a Republican. Bloomberg was not. Bloomberg was a centrist, showed his colors, ran on the left, right? And for president, he ran as a Democrat for president. Curtis Lewa, is he a fantastic candidate? No. If I'm in his campaign, I know he started the Guardian Angels, the beret is their look and things like that. I would tell him to take off the beret for interviews and stuff like that. And because again, if you don't know anything about the guy, the first thing you're going to see is he's wearing a fucking beret. Okay. But again, Curtis, I would love to have you on the show. I want Curtis Lewa to come on this show because I would love to talk him up and hear what he wants to do. Get his policies out there. And the best way to do it is to bring him on all these shows repeatedly up to the election. Raise his status. New York Post, write more articles about Curtis Lewa. You're one of the biggest newspapers in the country and you are very read in the city. Write a ton of articles about the man. Anyone on X that is an influencer, start talking up Curtis Lewa. I don't think people understand if you're not in New York. It is an important election for the nation. There are people that have certain power around the country that cause a ripple effect. And just because it's a mayor election doesn't mean it's nothing. There's a reason why everyone around the nation is paying attention to Zohar Mamdani. Because I put one of the New York City mayor as one of like the top 10 most powerful people in the country. Because what we do in New York City, what happens here, it's one of the places that ripples around the country. You have New York City, you have LA, you have Florida as a state, parts of Texas. Those are the parts that kind of ripple and have effects. It would be incredible if while the leftists are going full on left for Mamdani, and then you have your boomers who are going to vote for Cuomo as long as he's still in there. They are not radical leftists. They're not high school kids. They're not college kids. They are, you're fresh out of college 20-somethings. Your boomers are going to vote for Cuomo because they still remember Mario Cuomo. They still remember his dad. And they voted. That's the only reason he became governor. So he still has that. You have the fact that Mamdani is pretty much an Islamist. You have a large Jewish population that's looking for somebody to support in the city. They're not going to support Mamdani. Maybe the younger ones will, but not the older ones. Again, they will go for Cuomo in a good amount of numbers. Adams can pull another group of them away, right? Lewa has a chance, y'all. There is a path for Curtis Lewa to sneak in and win this, but it can only happen if we start doing the right thing as a group. And the national movement needs to realize New York City is important. We need to stop ceding that ground and just assume that just because New York City's gone, they're communists, they're done, we don't want to deal with them. No, we keep on ceding grounds. We ceded Chicago, we're ceding LA, we're ceding, we only get in the fight if the name is we really know them. Come on, y'all. If anybody that watches this, that, share a clip of me, that go on your favorite, influencing page or bigger YouTube page or something like that, or show, and send this to them on X. Send them me being a fucking madman and telling them that we need to change our strategy here. Zohar Mamdani wants this attention. This is exactly what he wants. This is exactly what he needs to get a national presence. Because to win in New York, New Yorkers need to perceive that you're important. They are a very, very visual group. They need to perceive that you are important. And Zohar Mamdani right now looks really fucking important. He looks really important. The guy's a whack job. He's insane, but really, really important looking. And Curtis Lewa, no one knows who he is. And that's the fault of the conservative media. So we're going about this all wrong. And I will continue to bang this drum. This is going to be one of my probably jihads at the beginning of every show. I talked to John Ziegler about this when we had him on. And if you didn't go listen to last week's episode with John Ziegler, it was awesome. He gave more stuff about the innocence of Jerry Sandusky that was never before heard, was broken on the show. So it was really cool there. But I mean, back to Curtis Lewa, he kind of echoed what the national conservatives are, that he should drop out and we should back Adams. And no, fuck that guy, okay? Fuck Eric Adams, fuck Andrew Cuomo, fuck Zohar Mamdani. I'm tired of ceding these grounds for just the person that maybe is okay. Eric Adams is a MAGA guy. I don't care. Okay, y'all? Because here's the thing. Here's the reality. Come 2028, MAGA is already starting to fracture. You don't think it's going to fracture by 2028 when Trump's gone? The only thing that can save MAGA is if Donald Trump Jr. runs. Okay? That's it. Honestly, Vance ain't going to save MAGA. Okay? Marco Rubio ain't going to save MAGA. Ron DeSantis sure as fuck is not going to save MAGA. So get used to it, y'all. MAGA goes with Trump. We're back to being Republicans again. I hate to break it to everyone. So we need to start looking at this. Adams is not a great candidate, okay? Not a great candidate. He won, but he's had so many black eyes on both sides, Democrats and Republicans. He is a snake. He is a worm. He will say exactly what he needs to say in order to get popular. Again, we can't trust him, okay? We cannot trust him. Cuomo is Cuomo. We know who he is. Cuomo's a piece of shit that's only in it for himself. Mamdani's a legitimate, true believer, socialist, leftist, communist. We need to back Curtis Lewa. There's no other choice. So now my rant being over, Nate G coming in saying, sadly, if the Epstein investigation foreshadows anything, we'll never get a real investigation into anything of importance. Agreed. Nate also saying crime is a social construct. It very much is a social construct. Because, talk to leftists. It is a social construct. Nate G saying that's a great perspective on taking down the race incel that is Mamdani. Yeah. And he eats fucking rice with his fingers. What a weird guy. What a weird guy. Blah. Squiggles McJr. saying MAGA died a couple of weeks ago. Seems that way. And he's saying he's only MEGA now. And Nate saying, you got to give it to Adams. He can search a teenager's room. I mean, that was a base video. He was really good at searching a teenager's room. It's like, and I get it. Listen, middle America doesn't give a shit, right? I'm in New York State. So what happens in New York City truly ripples around to me. So, the rest of America doesn't care. But the influencers, the media, let's start bringing Curtis Lewa into the light. Because the thing is, even if Curtis Lewa loses, right? Say Mamdani manages to keep this almost 40%. He's at 36. He might climb near 40. Make him work. Make them spend some money, more money than they thought they would need to. Make it to a point where people start to recognize Sliwa, and Cuomo and Adams have to drop out. Don't sit there and call for Sliwa to drop out. I don't think anyone assumed, looking right now, looking at this poll, who assumed that he'd be ahead of Adams and at 14%, right? It's only July. He's 21 points down in July. That is not insurmountable, y'all. That is not insurmountable if we start to get the right campaign behind him now. But here's my problem, though. Just look right here. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be a dick, but that beret just doesn't work. Not for a normie. I know Curtis Lewa. He's been on the radio. New York City is a conservative radio guy for forever. I know Curtis Lewa would probably be a pretty damn good mayor. The Guardian Angels is actually a great group. If you don't know what they are, go look into them. Curtis Lewa started something really cool. But you need to, get yourself out to the normies. Like Zoran Mamdani right there in that picture looks really normal. Even Cuomo looks fairly normal. Sliwa has his beret on when he's not smiling. Someone needs to get to the Sliwa campaign and fix that. And just wear the beret at your events. If you're at a Guardian Angels event, absolutely wear it there. Everywhere else, pop it off, brother. Let's get you to the limelight, okay? Caveat Ty saying, yo, what's up? What's up, Caveat? How are you? I apologize, Caveat. There was no guest for us to ask to go over to Criticless. I sincerely apologize. But that is my rant on that. Where do I want to go next? Let's go back to the share screen so I don't mess it up. Caveat Ty saying berets are gay. Yeah, some people look at it that way. So, there's got to be some introspective there in terms of how they look at it. But let's get to our next order of business here. So, on the 4th, the deadline was reached. It was there. Trump signed the big, beautiful bill. Let's watch him sign this. So that was him signing the big, beautiful bill. And Caveat saying, you get there then. I did, Caveat. I did one for Varsity Blues the other day. So I'm trying. Okay, I'm awful with a caveat. I'm trying. I did a review for Bar City Blues. So there we go. Um, so uh, he signed the big beautiful bill. There is a lot of good and a lot of bad. There's both. Okay. Um, there's both. So they talk about the good. There was they're trying to get 1 million immigrants out a year. That's awesome. Illegal immigrants, not legal. Sorry, that's a slip. Trying to get a million illegal immigrants out a year. That is great. That's not what it's what we're supposed to do. Um, Getting them off Medicaid because they don't belong on Medicaid. We should not be paying for illegal immigrants' healthcare. I don't care. The no tax on tips and no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime. There's a lot of sunset with that. There's a lot of caveats. There's a lot of all this stuff. So that is kind of wishy-washy. It made the Trump tax cuts permanent, which is good, so that it can't keep on going up. Nate brings up a bad thing here. Nate's saying RIP betting. I shall raise an army of bettors who ride upon Boston and throw our betting tickets into the Boston Harbor, which is hilarious. That's something Tim Cass said the other day. But yeah, there is a whole thing on there that will end gambling as we know it. I think Trump's going to see this and he's going to throw an EO in there to kind of like kibosh that until they can amend that part of it. Because it is, I mean, it's not great. It's not great. That's one of the parts that's not great, right? They took away the fine for the short barrel rifle and things like that, but you still have to register. You still have to get fingerprinted. So there is good and bad in this big beautiful bill. The good is it pushes a lot of Trump's agenda forward, and that's a positive. A lot of the things he campaigned on are in there to push it forward. That's a good thing. Now, he's a negotiator. So he gave in. He gave in on some things. And you could see that. He gave in. And this was a large spending bill. It was a pork bill. Elon Musk is going abso-fucking-lutely crazy about it. And while Elon has a point, we also know Elon is a full retard. We do know this. And I've said it millions of times on this show. Elon Musk is a leftist climate activist. We've known this. We see that his free speech belief only goes so far on X. I have never trusted Elon Musk. I was never one of those people that's like, he's MAGA now. No. Elon is Elon. Elon is trying to get to Mars, y'all. That is it. That's it. There's no other mission for Elon Musk. What can help him get to Mars and start colonizing it? That is his only goal. That's what people need to understand about Elon Musk. Is he right about the spending and how it can be crazy and spending it to oblivion? Yes. Yes. Is he wrong with the way he's going about it, making the American Party as the worst platform of all time? I mean, that third party was failure to begin with. You have Mark Cuban on your side. Like, get the fuck out of here. But he's not wrong about the spending stuff. Now, this gets in to the non-discretionary spending on some of this stuff with the bill. Like, obviously, trying to cut Medicaid for the illegals is going to save a lot of money. That's awesome. That is fantastic. So there's good, there's bad. I mean, I don't know what else to say about the big beautiful bill. I am not going to read all 1,100 pages. I know they spent 16 hours doing it on the floor or whatever it is, 11. I'm not going to watch all that. I wish they would pass a bill that you can't have these giant omnibus. But if they have it, then they can do reconciliation and they only need 50% instead of 60 votes. All this dumb shit rules that they create, because people need to realize with Congress, the Constitution allows Congress to make its own rules. So they can do all of this stuff. They could do cloture. They could do reconciliation. They can do all this stuff where that we need the 60% threshold in order to pass bills can go bye-bye sometimes because they want it to. So we need to realize that when they want to pass something, they have so many loopholes and rules that they can get by. So, I mean, there's a lot in this bill. Again, and we've seen, the rah-rah cheerleaders have pointed out all the good that they like. They didn't give you the details on everything, but they pointed it out. The people that have problems are pointing out the problems. People are running it through Grok and ChatGPT and trying to pick things out. We know Grok and ChatGPT aren't great. Grok is friggin' the biggest anti-Semite Hitler supporter lately, which has been funny, but fucking terrible. Like the dude is full on. I don't know what's that one MMA guy that's all the Jews do everything wrong. Like it's wild. It is wild. And Nate coming in saying, I hope so. I heard some Nevada reps are working on getting it changed. Hopefully, you can't tax a losing better. It's nonsense. It's like taxing unrealized gains in the market. It's exactly what it is. It's unrealized gains. And it's going to hurt everything. And I know people don't like Tim Pool a lot, but I like listening to Tim Cass. I like the people he brings on, and I love Phil Labonte. I think Phil's amazing, and Shane Cashman's been on the show. I love Shane. There's some people in there. Ian, I'm a fan of. I'm a fan of pretty much all of them, right? So he was talking about how conservatives are like, yeah, gambling bad. This affects fantasy sports, which I know almost everybody does. This affects horse track, which they weren't thinking about, right? This affects just if you have a pot in a fishing tournament. That is now gambling, y'all. That is gambling, right? That's chance. There's skill involved, but there's chance there. All these types of little things are going to fall underneath this. So I don't think this is going to stay. I think there's going to be enough backlash after people really get into the nitty gritty. And like I said, I think Trump's going to EO it and he's going to say, hey, I'm putting a pause on this. Get to work, fix this part. And they're going to get to work in Congress because kind of Trump bullies everybody right now. And it's exactly what we've been asking him to do, bully people. So, I mean, it's it's very interesting. So Squiggle saying Elon's only goal is to chip your brain. That's one of them because then we become all of his test dummies to fly to Mars without knowing. Nate G saying Massey was holding out for single issue bills. Love me some Massey. I mean, I love Thomas Massey too, but Massey eventually folded and voted for it, I believe. Wasn't he one? Was he one of the no's or yeses? I don't know. I think he voted for it. If not, I did hear he was trying to negotiate with Trump, asking him to stop attacking him behind closed doors, which again, I don't know how true that is, but I like Thomas Massey too. I think Thomas Massey is a good rep. He's principled. He's not your full on retard libertarian. So, I mean, we'll see. Squiggles saying, call your rep and demand no more that 3 issues to a bill. I mean, Squiggles, I would love that, but they're not going to do it because the thing is, this is how, and they've all realized this is how they can go in, get that little thing slipped in, one thing a year, and then they can come back during election time and go, remember when I got this for you guys? I got you this $3 million from the federal government. Vote for me again. They love to hide the pork. They love to hide the pork. And everyone does it. No one's going to fight against this because this is how they could say, we got this through. We got you something. Love me. Fucker. Nate G saying, I still like Jake Shields. Jake Shields, okay. Jake Shields, I think, has been punched in the head one too many fucking times. He's fine on a lot of things. I just can't do it's the juice for everything. It's not the juice for everything, y'all. Stop that. Squiggles saying, I'm pro gambling. I don't care what people do. I'm pro. I don't give a shit. If you're of age and you want to go and gamble your life into oblivion, you can go do that. Sorry, I'm a dumbass. You can go do that. Gamble your life into oblivion. Like, I'm sorry. Like, do I have a heart? Do I want to see families torn apart? No, that does happen. But it's like, you're a grown-ass adult. Do what you want. If you need help, go get it. Nate G saying, I'm a poker person too. In-person poker too. Yeah, in-person poker will be screwed. And I mean, our guest PA Chase, Cliff Maloney, just took, I think, 21. He finished 2,100 right around there in the World Series of Poker out of 10,000 people. He's going to pro poker tables. It's his second pro game, and he's doing awesome. He's won twice, money wise, gotten in money. So Cliff's going to that could really hurt that because poker, if you're going to Texas Hold'em, that's a game of skill. That is not your chance. You need to understand the game. You need to understand your odds. You need to know when to, know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, know when to run, right? The one great song there, but it's wild. Nate saying, I get its advice, but some of us clean up during football and hockey. Yeah, some people are just very, very good at it. Nate saying, used to be 53% to be positive. Now you have to be about 60, which is crazy. No, Massey and Tillis were the only nays. Okay. Nate saying, I agree, but I can separate the tard from good. And then caveat saying, poker, barely know her. Poker face, poker face. But all right. So that honestly, like I would love to talk more about the big beautiful bill, but I hate fucking talking about 1,100 page bills because you will never find out. This is quite literally Pelosi stance. You got to pass it to know what's in it. We can have as many people as we want rip through this by the time it's passed and said and done, there's so much shit in there that we'll find out, right? It just comes in and affects us. So, man, Mosin, what's going on? Long time no see. Pacers winning the Eastern Conference Finals, paid out fat. I mean, yeah. And then honestly, if Halliburton doesn't get hurt in game 7, I mean, he was already hobbling. If he doesn't tear his Achilles in game 7, we could be seeing the Indiana Pacers hoisting that trophy because him going out changed the complexion of all that game 7. But then again, basketball's so unwatchable. They just go around, hoist threes, drive once, get fouled, hoist threes. Like, honestly, the Spurs made everyone believe that and the Golden State Warriors that everyone's just going to pass to get to the best 3. Now they all just want to be Steph. It's awful. Caveat ties, if you poke her face, you could hurt her eye. See what you did there. But let's move on now. Because our title that we had is pretty apt to today, and I don't know about you guys, but I am rather pissed off about this. Now, those that have been watching the show for a while know that I have been on about the Epstein client list. I have been on about them coming out and giving us the Epstein client list. We've had glimmers of hope. We've had Kash Patel go on Glenn Beck, look him in the eyes and saying, I've seen the list. You had Glenn Beck go out and put his credibility on the line saying, I know Kash will put it out day one. Day one. Didn't happen. You had Pam Bondi say it was on her desk. And we've gone over this. You had Pam Bondi talking about, the Southern District of New York's holding it up. The FBI is looking through all this paperwork. When Project Veritas, or OMG, one of them, O'Keefe Media Group, yeah, OMG, putting out that video against, I think it was OMG, putting out the video against her, saying that there was tens of thousands of him with children and child porn. And now we find out there's no list. So I want to read to you, Robbie Starbuck had the tweet. I want to read to you the memo that was released the other day telling everybody to fuck off. There is no list. So here we go. I'm going to read it to you guys because it's a little hard to read where it is. So this is from the FBI. As part of our commitment to transparency, the Department of Justice and the Federal Bureau of Investigation have conducted an exhaustive review of investigative holdings relating to Jeffrey Epstein. To ensure that the review was thorough, the FBI conducted digital searches of its databases, hard drives, and network drives, as well as physical searches of squad areas, lock cabinets, desks, closets, and other areas where responsive material may have been stored. These searches uncovered a significant amount of material, including more than 300 gigabytes of data and physical evidence. So I want to also couch this by saying, when they say they, digital searches, they use fucking AI, y'all. That's what that means now. Next paragraph. The files relating to Epstein include a large volume of images of Epstein, images and videos of victims who are either minors or appear to be minors, and over 10,000 downloaded videos and images of illegal child sex abuse material and other pornography. You two, don't get mad at me. I'm just reading what the FBI put out. Teams of agents, analysts, attorneys, and privacy and civil liberties experts combed through the digital and documentary evidence with the aim of providing as much information as possible to the public while simultaneously protecting victims. Much of the material is subject to court-ordered sealing. Only a fraction of this material would have been aired publicly had Epstein gone to trial, as the seal served only to protect victims and did not expose any additional third parties to allegations of illegal wrongdoing. Through this review, we found no basis to revisit the disclosure of those materials and will not permit the release of child pornography. So this is what they're doing, y'all. And this is now what the line is. They are using child porn as the way that they are not going to release the names. We will not release child porn to the public. You've heard Pam Bondi say it repeatedly. Is now official FBI. We are not going to release child porn. I thought you guys were combing through it to protect the victims. I don't want to see the videos. I want to see the people. I want to hear the people that did it. I want to know that the videos are there. And if the videos do need to be seen, I want them to be seen in a court of law. I don't give a fuck that a court sealed them after Epstein was convicted and Ghislaine Maxwell went to jail. I don't care. You're the federal government. Unseal it. You're the FBI. You can do that. Let's keep going. This systematic review revealed no incriminating client list in scare quotes. There was also no credible evidence found that Epstein blackmailed prominent individuals as part of his actions. We did not uncover evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties. So what we have here, hold on. But, I'll give my, after we read more, I will talk more about this because reading this again just makes me fucking fume again. Consistent with prior disclosures, this review confirmed that Epstein harmed over 1,000 victims, and apparently Epstein on his own. Each suffered unique trauma. Sensitive information relating to these victims is intertwined throughout the materials. They lost their black marker, y'all. This includes specific details such as victims' names and likenesses, physical descriptions, places of birth, associates, and employment history. One of our highest priorities is combating child exploitation and bringing justice to victims. Perpetuating unfounded theories about Epstein serves neither of those ends. To that end, while we have labored to provide the public with maximum information regarding Epstein and ensure the examination of any evidence in the government's possession, it is the determination of the Department of Justice and the Federal Bureau of Investigation that no further disclosure would be appropriate or warranted. Okay. After a thorough investigation, FBI investigators concluded that Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide in his cell at the Metropolitan Correction Center in New York City on August 10, 2019. This conclusion is consistent with previous findings, including the August 19, 2019 autopsy findings of the New York City Office of the Chief Medical Examiner, the November 2019 position of the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York, in connection with the investigation of federal correction officers responsible for guarding Epstein, and the June 2023 conclusions of DOJ's Office of the Inspector General. The conclusion that Epstein died by suicide is further supported by video footage from the common area of the Special Housing Unit, SHU, where Epstein was housed at the time of his death. As DOJ's Inspector General explained in 2023, anyone entering or attempting to enter the tier where Epstein's cell was located from the SHU common area would have been captured by this footage. The FBI's independent review of this footage confirmed that from the time Epstein was locked in his cell around 10:40 p.m. on August 9, 2019, until around 6:30 a.m. the next morning, nobody entered any of the tiers of the SHU. During this review, the FBI enhanced the relevant footage by increasing its contrast, balancing the color, and improving its sharpness for greater clarity and viewability. The full raw and enhanced videos are available at the following links, and they are. So, first thing I want to get to some comments, and then I'm going to flip the fuck out. So, here we go. Nate G will talk real quick about OKC, discussing that OKC wasn't even excited. Fucking Panthers are still partying, yes. Caveat ties, this was never going to come out. The people. Squiggles McJr., all I wanted were prosecutions. I'm livid. Nate G, did you see the director of the CIA had an orgasm about new Ukraine funding? Yes. Squiggles McJr. saying BB has all the blackmail. Caveat ties, if people were powerful enough to keep it secret, clearly they would have been powerful enough to destroy before Trump took office. Nate G agreeing with Squiggles. Squiggles saying he has Trump by the balls. That's BB. Nate G, a week or two ago, YouTube laxed on covering these issues. Squiggles saying Bondi is a complete retard. Nate G again, just a bunch of regular Joes sailboating to the island for prostitutes. Squiggles, she completely denies knowing if it worked for an entitlement, aka Mossad. Nate G, personally, I think Epstein drank too much Pruno. And Squiggles asking, did I see the Trump video? I assume that's the one where he flipped out, asking if we're still talking about this. So, now it's time for me to say my piece about this. First things first, we can all go after Pam Bondi all we want. Pam Bondi's the easy one to go after. DOJ secretary, the outsider, right? She's the outsider in all this because, yes, she's a part of the Trump administration. But everyone forgets Pam Bondi was the Florida AG. She's a DeSantis girl. A DeSantis woman. I'm not going to call her a girl. She's a grown-ass woman. She's a DeSantis woman. She's a real easy to go after. Not enough people are talking about Cash Patel and Dan Bongino. because they're supposed to be one of us. They're supposed to be MAGA. They're supposed to be this and that. And we're supposed to give them the benefit of the doubt. It's okay to go after people you like when they are fucking up or they are wrong. If Pam Bondi gets fired over this, so should Kash Patel and Dan Bongino. I'll repeat that. And I don't care if MAGA wants them to stay because they're our guys. Kash Patel was a guy that wrote a fucking book about all the things and the shiesty shit that he knew in the federal government after working there forever and serving under President Trump in his first term. He wrote all of this, all of the dirty secrets. He said he was going to take them down. He's the FBI head. Have we seen a single indictment? I know it hasn't been that long, but he knew. He was so sure. He told Glenn Beck in an interview that he saw the Epstein client list. Not that he saw evidence, not that he saw the client list. Said that himself. Dan Bongino on his show multiple times saying that he had insiders knowing this, knowing that about Epstein. He knows this stuff. He talked about it all the time. And Dan Bongino has a fuck ton of credibility due to his Secret Service work. And the fact that I don't deny that he knows people on the inside. Pam Bondi is the least of my fucking concerns. I'm not going to lie. I didn't expect Pam Bondi to be a good AG. I thought she was a shit pick to begin with. And I said it as much on this show that she was a wishy-washy AG. She was not a great 2A AG in Florida. I don't expect her to be strong. But she's easy. She's the easy target. And that's why MAGA's going after her. That is why I fully and wholeheartedly disagree with Glenn Beck, saying that she needs to be the one that's fired. If she's gone, so is Kash. So is Dan. Because they're all in this. That is a joint statement by the FBI and the DOJ. And I'll say this flat out. For Glenn Beck to not be calling out the guy that lied to his face, a little bit bullshit, y'all. A guy that likes to sit there and go on the radio every day talking about his conviction, talking about that. And again, I've been listening to Glenn Beck for a damn near a decade, more than that. I think Glenn Beck is really good in a lot of things. He's not. He's I don't want to say he's being a coward right now because I don't think that's fair, but I don't know what else to say. He's not stepping up and criticizing Kash the way he should. He lied to you, dude. If you're going to call for Pam Bondi's firing, then you need to call for his too. Yes, this rollout has been terrible. The phase one with the binders and her saying it's on my desk on Fox News and trying to cover up at today or to yesterday at the when they were talking before the cabinet meeting, saying that she meant all the things regarding for Epstein and JFK and all of them were there. Shitty cover up, okay? Her saying that there's 10,000 things out there, 10,000 videos, and we're combing through it of Epstein with the victims. And now to come out and say there's no list. Now to come out and say he definitely committed suicide because I saw the video. The video footage shows shit, y'all. That shows nothing. It shows nothing. It shows a video of a common area, which anyone that's ever seen a camera knows all cameras have blind spots. And this just happened to be the night where 3 other cameras plus the one in his cell weren't working. And you expect me to believe that one camera video in a common area that could easily be skirted by, easily, a child can figure out how to do it. That is evidence that he killed himself. And then he killed himself for no reason. What was he going to kill himself for? No one was coming after him. There's no client list. He was just a diddler, right? He was just a fucking pedophile. Ghislaine Maxwell went to jail for trafficking. Who was she trafficking to? Just Epstein? It's not what they made it seem like. The judge had a book of names in there saying, I'm not going to show you all of them, but I will permit you to see some in order to convict Ghislaine Maxwell. They think we have no memory. They think the internet doesn't exist, y'all. This is a huge black eye. And I know there are certain conservatives saying, well, the Epstein list isn't that important. Immigration's more important. And we need to get the Ukraine war under mess. And we're sending them things. And that's more important. No, motherfuckers. This is the most important thing right now. Because if we sit there and we just roll over and allow Trump, a billionaire, who, I don't care what people say, he did know Epstein. Yes, he disassociated himself when he found out he was being a piece of shit at Mar-a-Lago. But you know what, though? This looks awful. This looks awful, okay? Because all the leftists that want to say Trump was on the list now, what are you going to say? I don't think Trump is, because I think he's an upstanding guy. Trump cheated on how many women, okay? He still fucks around probably. I'm done, y'all. I'm done playing these dumb games that conservative pundits play. It is a distinct possibility that Donald Trump is on the Epstein list, and he has just been trying to make it go away. There's a possibility people he's good friends with are on that list, and he knows it. There's also the possibility that there are world leaders on that list, and exposing them could lead to war, could lead to very strange geopolitical situations. And I get that. That is tricky. That is tricky. And Trump might be looking at it going, we can't release this. I don't want World War III. And I get it. I fucking get it. I get it that this could sit there. And if you sit there and put out this list and it implicates current world leaders all around the world in different parts of the world, or if he was truly an asset to the intelligence community and where they're trying to cover that up, wouldn't surprise me either. Or if Trump is now using this over people to get what he wants, saying, hey, you're on the list and you know you fucking are, do what I want. Maybe. All of those are plausible. But the worst way is how they're handling it. Saying that there is no list. There is no third party. It was just Epstein. Just Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. You really want me to believe that? Knowing who Ghislaine Maxwell's dad was and how connected he was to all the leftist bullshit. Knowing that how many people Epstein knew and met and rose to being a billionaire, and how many people, that flight manifest isn't evidence of wrongdoing, but you see how many people were on there and who they were. Like, this is bad, y'all. This is really bad. And there's no other way to put it. This is a black eye on the Trump presidency. 100% a massive, massive black eye. And the conservative pundits are going to try and cover it up. You're going to hear a lot more of, it's not that important. It's just a bunch of rich guys. And what is it? It's, one thing, like I said, I love Phil Labonte. I think Phil's great. But his constant thing is it really going to affect your life? Yes, Phil. Yes. Because you want to know why? Because to find out that if I become a billionaire, a la P. Diddy, I can kind of do whatever the fuck I want if I'm rich and powerful. That's a terrible, terrible, terrible thing to do, to put out there. To let these wealthy people that raped young girls, flat out, these victims are still alive. I guarantee they're not allowed to talk. I guarantee it. This is embarrassing. And this is one that I refuse to defend Donald Trump over. If any of my leftist friends or family members sit there and talk about how terrible this is, I'll say, yeah. And if they say, do you think he's on the list? I will say, I don't know. I will flat out say, I don't know anymore. I'm not defending him. This looks awful. And it is bad. And he is protecting people. So is Pam Bondi. So is Kash Patel. So is Dan Bongino. 3 out of the 4 are supposed to be MAGA. 3 out of the 4 are people we're supposed to trust. I maintain my stance. I don't trust a single fucking politician or anybody that has to do with government, because they don't give a shit. So it's awful. But I will say this does matter. Do not let anybody fucking tell you that this doesn't matter. Do not let anyone sit there and try to say we need to move on. There's more important things. There is not a single thing more important than catching the perpetrators, wealthy ass perpetrators that run the world, that's to stop them from destroying lives of little girls, young girls. These weren't adult women prostitutes. They weren't making their own decisions. They weren't over 18 or whatever, doing drugs and going and getting plowed. These were little girls. I have 2 daughters. I'll be fucking damned if I ever let something like this go. And for Trump to flip out on the reporter because he asked Pam Bondi about it, keep asking. I hope people have the balls to keep asking. And that Trump flipping out today does not make them all puss out. We know it will. We know it will. But I really, really hope that the reporters, the leftists that want to stick it to him so bad, I will have your back if you ask every day, what did you do with the list? Where is it? Keep asking and tell them they're fucking liars to their face. Because you know what? We voted for Donald Trump. He told us we were going to get the list. He's now telling us it's not there. This is something he needs to be held accountable for. It would be great. Listen, we could do two things at once too, y'all. I'm tired of this whole entire, we need to now stop paying attention here and just pay attention there. We could do two things at once. I can praise him for what he's doing with the immigrants. I can praise him for ending wars. I can praise him for doing things while also being critical of the fact that the Epstein client list not being a thing is a lie. So we also need to know that we can do two things at once, guys. We need to not let them sit there and say, you have to focus only here. Fuck you. I will multi-focus. Okay. So now my rant is over. Let's get to some more comments because you guys have been jumping in here and I appreciate you guys. Squiggles McJr. saying Cash and Dan look like they are plagued by ghosts since they took those jobs. I mean, I do sympathize because there is this distinct possibility that they both got pictures of their families handed to them the moment they walked in without a word from someone that's an agent. They know they're an agent. That could be a possibility and that will change you. I don't care who you are. That will change you. So we don't know. We do not know. So, but we brought them in to do a job. Nate G saying, I had such high hopes for Cash. Government Gangsters was a great book. Typical Pajit. But yeah, Government Gangsters was a good book. Not a great book. Good book. It was a good book. It was. And he talks so much shit just to get in the position to do something. And listen, here's the deal. I would love to be wrong. I would love to be wrong about him. I would love to sit there and in 3-4 months, Trump stands by them because he knows that those three, Pam, Cash, and Dan, are working their asses off on putting away a bunch of rich and powerful people that did other shit. Maybe not the Epstein list. Maybe that was destroyed before they got there and they don't want to have egg on their face for saying they were going to do it and they can't, blah, blah, blah. Maybe that's the case. And maybe we sit there and we get a whole bunch of fucking indictments. Maybe. We saw, Clapper got indicted and things like that. Christopher Wray, maybe. And if that's the case, they start sitting there and ripping through corrupt motherfuckers, then I will sit there and say, I'm still pissed about the Epstein list, but good job. I'm happy Trump stuck with you. If none of that happens, though, burn it the fuck down. They have until the midterms. That's to me. They have until the midterms. You better produce some shit by the midterms because then we're fucked anyway if you don't. You got to produce some stuff or otherwise, do you want to know what a blue wave looks like? You'll see a fucking tsunami if you guys do nothing. So let's keep going. Squiggles McJr. People are saying that Cash's new old lady is a Masadi. Wouldn't be surprised. I mean, but people say a lot. You don't know what to believe. Nate G, has anyone asked Cash how many Target gift cards will be needed to pony up? Nate, you're an idiot. Mosin, with the New Jersey drones cop out, Iran intervention, new Ukraine funding, the floating the idea of limited amnesty, which we'll get to, makes one wonder if someone or something got to Orange Man and spooked him. Pretty weird. The only thing about Trump that I do know is typically when we see something crazy like this or something fucking dumb, he's doing something in the background. This was first term stuff all the time. He would, and maybe he's doing it to us too. I like to hope. I don't call it 4D chess. I think that's a dumb phrase. But we saw throughout his first term, he would say something to inflame the media. They would focus here, and then he would get another country to sign the Abraham Accords. So I am hoping that while we are getting pissed about amnesty and things like that and things going on, that all of a sudden he comes out and says there's a ceasefire in Ukraine and Russia. Like, I'm hoping he's working on something. Or another country has signed on to the Abraham Accords, all right? I'm hoping, but I mean, yeah, there's a lot of that going on. Squiggles McJr. saying dropping the ball. Squiggles saying BB is using the Epstein files to make Trump toe the line. We are captured. See, here's the thing, Squiggles. I do not give Israel as much credit as many people do. I think Israel's our bitch more than we are theirs because Israel knows unless we keep on helping them, they can fight for a while, but they are fucked without our money. So I am not of the thought process that AIPAC has all of this influence. Do they have some? Of course. Does Bibi have some influence being one of our closest allies? Sure. But to think that that doesn't float both ways, to think that Trump doesn't have Bibi by the balls as well, Why did Bibi wait for 61 days in order to launch his attack? Because Trump told him that there was a 60-day limit. That's why, y'all. So it's like, I'm tired of hearing that Bibi has all this power. Bibi has power. Bibi has influence. Bibi doesn't have Trump by the balls. I refuse to think that, we're Israeli puppets. Israel needs us significantly more than we need them. And it's not even close. Israel can go the fuck away today, and we will still have intelligence all around the Middle East. They help. They're awesome with what they do with Mossad and their intelligence. They're a great military power. They're an awesome base there because we're right in the middle of the shit. We're close to everybody. They need us significantly more than we need them. And that is just knowing what's going on. So I think we get a little bit too crazy thinking Israel has all this fucking power. They don't. Because if Israel had all this power, then we would have already wiped out the whole Middle East for them. And we haven't yet. Squiggle saying he has known Epstein since 1988. Yeah, I know that. He's known him forever. Mosin saying, well, in this cover up also, of course, Ghislaine ran the op. Jeffrey was a front guy. That's the detail they would rather not have people know about because that would bring unwarranted scrutiny about her. Yeah, honestly. And you know that they did what they did with her. They put her in prison just to shut her up. Just to shut her up. Fact check saying Charlie Kirk. I assume that's when I was talking about people, being like kind of a mouthpiece. Nate G saying Robert Maxwell also drank too much Pruno on that boat full of high-level Mossad agents and simply fell off. Yes, 100%. Squiggle saying I better hope I don't get money. Fact check: Trump or Israeli officials are either on the list, if not both. Israel is a million percent implicated. I think so. I think that there are agents. I think that there's people from all around the world. And I think that's also what we're getting at. I think there's people from all around the world that are on this list. And it could be that they looked at the list, they fine-toothed it, and they go, we can't fucking release this, y'all. We can't. We promised it to be released unredacted. If we release this unredacted, we are fucked geopolitically. Everything that we are trying to do around the world, all of the strong arming, people are just going to throw missiles at us and we're going to fuck everybody. So I don't know. There is the possibility of that. Fact check saying Ben Shapiro is an Israeli puppet. Ben Shapiro is just, he's good on some things, bad on others. That's it. Squiggles, we are just goyim to them. Mosin saying what war to the end? I must have missed it. I mean, he ended the Israeli-Iran war. He got that ceasefire. He stopped, made the Pakistan and India war, potential major war stop. So he did. The Israeli-Iran war is done. Now there's the Gaza war that's still going on. He's trying, but he did end that war, y'all. And Squiggle saying he escalated and he said he forgot that. Mosin saying that doesn't count. India and Pakistan at PP measuring contest every 6 to 8 years. Mosin, I'm inclined to maybe, but they had over 140 plane dogfight. And I mean, Trump came in and yes, they do it, but they usually do it for like a week or so. Trump came in and on day 3 was like, cut it the fuck out and we'll work with you economically. And they both kind of stopped. So there was that. And then Nate G saying, yeah, Sudan and Congo too. And it was, I don't think it was Sudan. It was Rwanda. It was Rwanda and Congo that were going at it for 30 years. He brokered peace. So listen, he's done things, diplomatically. And here's the thing, y'all. Why is anybody surprised that he's taking this tactic with Ukraine right now? Trump doesn't bluff. Trump has said repeatedly to Putin, if this doesn't stop, we will give Ukraine more weapons. If you don't do what I'm telling you to do and cut the shit, we will start supplying Ukraine again with more weapons, more than you've ever seen, and we will help them fucking win. This is Trump, guys. You need to listen to what he says. This should not be surprising. When I heard that he was talking about we're going to send them more of this and we're going to send them more of that, he flat out has said publicly and in every which way, Putin needs to stop. If not, we are going to give Ukraine everything they need to wipe them the fuck out. He doesn't bluff. He does not bluff. What he's hoping to happen is, as he starts to give them advanced weapons, as he starts to train them, Putin talks tough, but seriously comes to the table because he doesn't want this to happen. That is what Trump does when it comes to these situations. He's going to give Ukraine a fuck ton of weapons. I don't think he's going to give them carte blanche money. I think that's going to be the difference. I don't think he's going to sit there and just go money, 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 money. I think that he's going to give them weaponry and things like that. So fact check saying, also wasn't the DOJ and FBI report released the same day as the Israeli officials' White House meeting? But it was the morning of, I believe. Yes. Squiggles McJr., Pakistan is on the verge of collapse before Trump came in to stop it. That is true because, I mean, I don't think he wants to see any economy collapse, to be quite honest. And McSquiggles saying they can't win, though. That's not what this is about, though. It's not about they can't win. It's about he's going to now give them weaponry that's going to kill far more Russians than have been killed like recently. It is about the human toll that he is going to allow Ukraine to sit there. And right now, Russia controls 20%. That's down 10% from the peak of the war. He is going to give Ukraine the ability to start pushing them back some more and just keep on killing more and more Russians. Now, more Ukrainians will die too, right? But he's going to give them weaponry that Russia can't compare against. And because our weaponry is significantly better. And that's what he's going to do. He's going to supply them with things that is going to lessen Ukrainian casualties because they have better weapons, and is just going to increase Russian casualties tenfold. Can they win? No, they can't win this war. Absolutely not. Can they make Russians' deaths skyrocket if their weaponry is significantly better? You bet they fucking can. If our weapons, if we start to give them our everything, so Squiggle's saying that's an escalation, not making peace. Nate's saying they've lost most of their fighting age men, literally conscripting old men and mentally incapable people. These are all true. And Squiggles, I will say though, his theory is sometimes negotiation needs to be hard. And is there truly escalation? Honestly, if Russia hasn't declared war on all of Europe and America yet with everything that we've done, do you really think he's going to do that now? Putin knows he can't win that war. Putin knows that if he declares war on all of Europe and America and invites us to go on, we can fucking destroy Russia. We can. We don't want to, but if we combine our might, whatever. China's in no position to do shit. They're a paper tiger. I would say this forever. They were a paper tiger. I'm not worried about China ever, to be quite honest. They don't have what everyone thinks they have economically. They have a bunch of people, but Russia can't fight a war against Europe and America and Ukraine. It's not possible. And Trump knows this. Trump also knows that Putin wants to continue to sell his oil to Europe. And that the only way you can do that is by eventually coming to the table. Trump is banking on the fact that by doing that, by even threatening and starting to bring this weapons to Ukraine, that Putin is going to seriously come to the table. You have to remember, it's going to take time to continue to build this shit. We've sent a bunch of stuff already. We don't have all of it ready to go right away, which I don't fully believe that we've like drained our weapon stocks. I think that's hyperbole. I think we have a fuck ton of weapons. But I mean, and again, we only make 40K artillery shells a month and only 5 THAAD missiles per month. Squiggles, I believe that that's what we are told. Not gonna lie. Maybe I'm a naive one. I don't think they tell us everything. I don't think the stockpile that they have, that is what they tell us they have, is what they have. I think we have a fuck ton more than we are perceived on. And I think what we are presenting is not our best stuff. I think what we send over is not our best stuff. I mean, you already saw what the bunker bomb did. We're the only country in the world that has a thing like the bunker bomb, and we executed it flawlessly against Iran. I mean, it's so. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. Zelensky was already complaining that they need that ammo, and Israel was getting all of them. I mean, because Israel's our ally and Ukraine isn't. So fuck Zelensky. But that's the way I say it. Squiggles, I understand what you're saying. That's escalation, not peace. But you have to understand the way Trump has been negotiating all of this, right? Because you could say what he did in Iran was escalation, not peace. And again, I'm still conflicted on whether or not I agree with attacking the Iranian nuclear facilities. But did it end that war? Fuck yeah, it did. Okay? The fact that Iran sat there and looked and went, we're not as good as we thought we were. Now we're, even if we can continue to enrich again in 5 years, that now puts us 5 years behind the 8 ball. We can't win this war. Obviously, and the United States is going to help Israel. We're going to come to the table. You know what I mean? Like things like that. And I really believe that Trump, just believes that I'm going to be nice, but when I make a threat, I have to go through with it. And the fact that he does go through with it makes him credible and brings people to the table. So, I mean, we could disagree with it. That's fine. Squiggles, if you believe that this is a fully wrong tactic, and again, I don't know if it's the right tactic. Do I like giving more shit to Ukraine? No. But, I mean, what else would you want Trump to do at this point? Diplomacy is not working, and that's on both sides. That's both fault, right? That is Ukraine sabotaging it sometimes, Russia is sabotaging it sometimes. Do we just leave it alone? A lot of people want to. If we leave it alone, then Europe needs to step up. France and Britain already talked about putting boots on the ground. If France and Britain put boots on the ground and Russia kills a French or a British soldier, we're in this war anyway because they're NATO allies. They are NATO allies. So if we can prevent France and Britain from being retarded by escalating a little bit, I don't know. Guys, I don't know the right answer. I don't disagree with you guys 100%. I get it. I get it. Squiggle saying the only reason the war was stopped is because the Iron Dome was out of ammo in 3 days if they didn't stop it. But the war was stopped, though, Squiggles. That's the thing. It did end. It did end. Nate G, China does a better hypersonic tech, according to the War College, but nobody's invading China or vice versa. Agreed. No one, the land invasion's not happening. Mosin, if one thing your argument has going for is that the U.S. exports 3 things: food, culture, and death via high-end weaponry, yes. I don't think the Ruskies are worried about people dying. Maybe not. Maybe not. But it does. The government's not worried about people dying, but eventually people get tired of watching their loved ones die. I don't care if you're as disciplined as the Russians, and especially in a war that isn't super popular there. It's not the most popular there. Enough death toll would even have people like Russians rise the fuck up. Okay. Mosin, they're worried about BRICS never amounting to being an actual competitor USD. And I mean, with the tariffs coming in saying 10% on all BRICS nations extra, it could end up not being a thing. It really could. Nate, fuck those Sharia countries who wipe our ass with paper. We do. And we can flush our toilets most of the time. Squiggles, he already ruined his chances of diplomatic solutions. They goaded Iran into negotiations to lure the Iranians out for the decapitated strike. And listen, it's war, Squiggles. And should we truly have been involved? Again, I agree with a lot of people. I'm not a fan of the strikes. I don't know if we should have done them. And I'm with you that I'm not a fan of the weaponry, but I just have to look at it from all angles and all options and all geopolitical things. Listen, the Iran-Israeli war is over, period. Whether you agree with how it ended, how it got there, it's over. He's talked about ending the Ukrainian-Russian war. He has publicly stated that if Russia does not stop their aggression, because they did start it, right? They started the war. If Russia doesn't stop their aggression, then he's only going to be so diplomatic. He's going to start supplying Ukraine. And he has said this since the campaign, y'all. So if you voted for Trump, you voted for this eventual escalation of him giving a shit ton of weapons to Ukraine, because he said that on the campaign trail, that if Russia does not come to the table, we will then make their lives a living hell by giving Ukraine more weaponry and advanced technology than Russia's ever seen. So this shouldn't be out of the blue. This is something he said. So, but again, I don't disagree that I'm not a fan of the escalation. But at the same time, if it ends up working out, then carry a big stick, right? And sometimes whack them as a warning shot. I don't know. I don't know. I don't have the answers. Not really, do. We started that war in 2014. I mean, if you're talking about the Crimean War, sure. With the Crimean Peninsula, it's been going on. You could date back so long with the Soviet satellite. This has been going on for a long time. So yes, this war has been going on. And it's been a proxy war for a very long time, right? There's been proxies doing little skirmishes. Yes. But if you're talking about open war, declared war, because that was a skirmish that was eventually, done with, and it was dormant. The Crimean Bridge was there until Ukrainians blew it up. So, and Squiggles, I understand what you're saying. I do. And yes, the Orange Revolution, the color revolution that we did, I get it. Squiggles, you're not wrong. I'm not arguing with you. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Mosin, we started that war when the USSR collapsed, not 1 inch to the east, we said. Yeah, that's true. And Caveat ties Crimea River. Yeah. Thank you, Caveat. Thank you for bringing light. But what are we at? We're at 11:13 at night already. I've only gone through 3 things. Let's keep going, y'all, because I'm about to be angry at Trump again. So let's continue being angry at Trump. That is the theme today. Be angry at Trump, okay? Even though I like him, but and Squiggles, you're talking about the Ukrainian Civil War. Yeah, but we were the ones that kind of stoked that, right? We had our globalist US UN people in there bringing in our own people and our own influence and shit like that. I forget, it was one of the women, was it Victoria Nuland or shit like that? I think wasn't Newland that was directly involved, and she's a part of the global cabal. There was something like that. I get it. Yeah, the revolution in there, and listen, we have been fucking around. If you want to talk about the fact the United States has been fucking around a bunch of countries that are at civil war, that are at current war, that are bubbling, our intelligence arm makes all of this shit happen globally. USAID had all of this shit happening globally. Okay, like this is all true. It's all true. You're not wrong. We meddle, and that's what we do. But again, there is some times where we could be critical of things, but we also have to sit there and go, fuck, we voted for him. We could be critical of him, but then we guys got to, he's doing it. So we can not necessarily like it, but still hope that it ends up being a positive result. Because he's obviously not Joe Biden. He's obviously not. People are being critical. I think it's unfair that we're screaming to the heavens that he's a traitor. Like he's not. He's talked about doing this and he's doing it. And he's talked flatly about doing this if Putin doesn't do what he's supposed to do. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'll follow up eventually and do another one of these shows, and we could see if it ended up ending the war, or if we have American boots on the ground, then I'm a fucking dumbass. I mean, if we end up with boots on the ground, it's worse. Mosin, Victoria Newland handed out cookies to peaceful demonstrators in 2014. Nothing more, nothing less. Yes, she is the best. And Andrew Tate was saying his lawsuits are funded by USAID. I'm not surprised. All right, let's move on here. Because like I said, I'm about to be mad at Trump again. That's the theme of today. Mad at Trump. So Eric Doherty has this video that has pissed me off of Donald Trump once again talking about a potential amnesty for people in farming, people in hospitality. So let's see what the Don had to say here.
Tom Homan. And we're working on legislation right now. Susie, right? We're working on legislation right now where farmers, look, they know better. They work with them for years. You had cases where, not here, but just even over the years, where people have worked for a farm on a farm for 14, 15 years, and they get thrown out pretty viciously. And we can't do it. We got to work with the farmers and people that have hotels and leisure properties too. We're going to work with them, and we're going to work very strong and smart. And we're going to put you in charge. We're going to make you responsible. And I think that that's going to make a lot of people happy. Now, serious radical right people, who I also happen to like a lot, they may not be quite as happy, but they'll understand, won't they? Do you think so? Madam Secretary, look at you with a white hat on. Do you think they'll understand that? You're the one that brought this whole situation up.
So I am now a serious radical right person. I'm happy to be a serious radical right person because what the fuck, Trump? Why? Amnesty is not a good thing, okay? We don't need that. And he came in today at the cabinet meeting and said, I'm not talking about amnesty. Sure as fuck sounded like amnesty, y'all. That sure as fuck sounded like amnesty. What he said sure sounded like amnesty. And to couch it as, well, they're farm workers that have been here for a while, or hospitality. And that's where my brain clicked too. It's like, he's trying to protect his fucking hotels. Like, this is as clear as day. Clear as day. Like, him talking about hospitality directly affects his bottom line when he eventually goes back into the private sector. And listen, I'm not going to blame him, right? He wants to sit there and continue to pay less. But this is wrong, y'all. We voted for all the illegal immigrants that were in this country to be systematically taken out, because we want the immigrants that came here the right way, the immigrants that came here, got their green cards, legitimate refugees. I don't mind legitimate refugees. They should come, right? Work visas, people that do things the right way. We want them here. We want them to come. We want good immigrants that wait in line, do their part, are here the right way. We want them here. But for him to come out and say it that way, it drives me crazy. Because, I mean, I understand what he's trying to say, right? If we just go in and we go to all these giant farms and just rip all their friggin' illegal workers out, that farm might fold. It might close, and that might be an important farm to us, right? If we go to some of these major hotels and just rip all the immigrant workers out, these big hotels that are high economy drivers might hurt, might close, right? I get it. He's looking at it from that stance. If he announced this in a way, and he kind of clarified it today at the cabinet meeting where he said they're going to work on a program, which that's what I want to hear. If he comes out and he says, listen, we cannot go and just fully take these people out because it's going to collapse all of our farming industry if we do it that way. It's going to really hurt our hotels and our factories that have all these people. I want to work with the bosses and give them an amount of time to hire American to replace these people, hire, citizens and, legitimate cardholders, legitimate, immigrants to replace these illegal immigrants so that when we do come in and take their illegal immigrant workers away from them, it doesn't gut their industry. I want to work with these people because it's been this way for a long time. While it is wrong, it's just what the industry did. And I'm not going to fault these major companies that were just doing what everyone else did to stay competitive. That's how he needs to come out and say it. I would be for that. I'd be like, you know what? I understand. Give them time to hire these Americans. And as they hire Americans, like batch them, right? Like if there's 100 illegal immigrants that work on a farm, batch them, hire 10 Americans, get rid of 10 illegal immigrants, let ICE take them, right? And at that point, they might start leaving themselves if they know this program goes on, and that might hurt too. But he can't just come out and say, well, they've been taken away so seriously and they've just been working. And no, fuck that. They've been taking the position of somebody that would do it. And it's, I don't like when he says this type of shit. This is the type of shit that, you could defend a lot. And Donald Trump has done a fuck ton of good. I mean, I'm not going to say that hasn't done good. He has done a ton of good as the president. Then he comes out and says things like this. And it's like, bro, no, this sounds like amnesty. And again, he said today, no amnesty. And Charlie Kirk the other day floated saying that there's people in the White House that are trying to push him to do amnesty. If he does amnesty, like I said, the blue tsunami is coming. It will happen. And it will be deserved. Because this is a fundamental thing that we voted for. Caveat ties. Just say nothing this early. Say we're focused on the violent ones. Agreed. Agreed, caveat ties. If you want to do this, if you wanted this to be a thing, then stop talking about it now. Right? When the farmers and the hospitality come to you, say, listen, shut the fuck up. I'm not going to touch your people. I'm going to tell Tom to steer clear. Just be quiet. If you have any ones with the record, they're going to go, but just make sure we know who they are. You don't have to come out and just say it. Mosin, the illegals working the farms ultimately will not be granted amnesty. They just won't be deported. Don't worry. No amnesty was granted to them. The big ask, AKA moving the goalpost. Yeah, exactly. We're not going to grant them the amnesty. I promise. No. Deport them too. Here's the thing. I get it. In 4 years, if you can't get to all of the people, and he's not going to, right? There's probably 100 million illegal immigrants in this country. I'm probably not kidding. I'm going to wager it might be that fucking high, okay? There is a lot. I'm probably being, exaggerating. But there is a lot, right? 20, 40 million, whatever. He's not going to get them all out in his 4 years. He's not. It's not possible. He's not going to do it. If the hardworking, nonviolent, non-criminal record ones that just go to work and go the fuck home and keep their head down don't get deported by him and they end up happening to escape by, good for them. You won the fucking lottery. But it's not, don't do a carve out for them just because. Sander Clegane, which is a great name. Thanks for watching. We appreciate it. I voted to get the PDF files out of the government and stop the blackmail. Well, that didn't work. Agreed, Sander. Sander come back again. Protecting PDF files is undone. Any good he has done. I'm not going to go that far, but it is a massive, it's a black eye. It's a broken jaw. It's a broken nose. The face looks very messed up after doing this. I agree with you. I don't think it undoes any good, because if he can get the economy back, if he can get people working, if he can get most of the illegals out, if he can get the prices down of everything and things like that, like there is a lot of good that can come even without getting these high profile pedophiles out. And Sander, I understand your emotion on it, because I don't know if you saw my rant about Epstein. I'm just as emotional about it. I'm not going to say that, and again, this is not only looking here and only looking there, but forgetting here exists. Multiple things at once, right? There is good being done. That is bad. It's a big bad. It's not a little one. It's a big one. But I'm not going to say just because that's bad, all of the good is gone away. It's not going to undo it. If he can get the economy roaring, if he can get jobs back, if he can get housing prices down, if he can, say fuck schools and things like that and bring their prices down for college and maybe burn some of them to the goddamn ground because they suck. Figuratively, not literally. We don't want to burn things. We're not leftists. We don't burn shit. But I'm not going to say it's all bad and it's all gone, but I'm pissed. Legitimate conservatives are pissed. People that aren't just MAGA zealots are pissed. But I digress with that. Caveat ties. Also by saying nothing, it keeps fear amongst the workers and maybe they will leave, but saying what he said reassures the illegals. And caveat ties, maybe he's saying it so they stay and that they stay put and that they don't go into hiding so that Tom can run into that farm, work with the owner and just wrangle him the fuck up. Maybe this is the Iran thing again. You get 2 weeks, we bomb you in 2 days. I'm saying we're not going to get rid of you. You have a chance. And then all of a sudden, Tom Homan goes to the biggest farm in the world that in the country that has the most illegals, wrangles them all up. And then the farmer has to figure it the fuck out. Right. Maybe. And that's my hope. That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome if we hear there's like a 500 fucking illegal immigrant sting after we said this on a farm. Like I would be like, self high fives. Well done. I don't know. Because the thing that sticks in my side is when he's like hospitality. That's what Trump does. Trump does hotels. That's his business. Like he could have left that one out because it makes it very obvious that his son called him and Eric is like, hey, dad, don't fuck me. Don't screw our company. Don't get rid of all of our workers, you idiot. And Donald's probably like, no, I won't, son. Let me put everyone at ease. The one thing about Trump, and that's always been one of his faults, he's a people pleaser. He wants to make sure he makes everyone happy. So if he gets enough complaints from enough of his friends, he will try to come out publicly and make them happy. So we shall see. We shall see. So Nate G last saying, Democrats, champions of the quote unquote living wage, except for illegals. No, they need, if we get rid of all the illegals, who will wipe our asses? I forget about what representative said that. But no, like they let out their idea, the fact that they have not changed. This is the same party of slavery, y'all. They have not changed. There was no party switch. There was no philosophical switch. They're still the party of slavery. That they cannot escape that fate. That is who they are. The South kept voting for the same Democrats years after the Civil Rights Act went into place. The same guys that signed the Southern Manifesto survived a few years after 64 as well, until they either died or bowed out. The same people voted for them. They didn't change their stripes. This is the same party. This is the party of Van Buren that decided to make ghettos up in New York, who eventually became president. That helped make Tammany Hall. The same party of Stephen Douglas, who was a Northern Democrat who debated Abraham Lincoln on why slaves should be allowed, even as a Northerner. That party hasn't changed. They do the same shit. Their goal is to keep as many people down in the cities, especially minorities, especially Black and Spanish people. That's their goal on the left. They have not changed. Their philosophy is the same. They just convinced a bunch of normies that they're emotional and they feel things. The people on the top know exactly what the fuck they're doing. They're not good people. All right. So no guest worker program. Bad Trump. Like I said, there's good Trump and bad Trump. We were going over a lot of bad Trump today. But now let's talk about something that's stupid. And this kind of goes with the immigration and amnesty. So Vox. Awesome Vox. This article has been brought up again. I don't know why. It's from June 17, 2025. I'm not going to lie. I didn't read the fucking article. I'm not going to read the article. I am going to address the headline. And I'm going to address everyone that talks about it, conservatives included. It says there, Trump is deporting way fewer people than Obama did. Why? And we've seen charts of comparing Obama's deportations to Trump's and blah, 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 blah. We have the ability to think, y'all. Like I said, I don't care about the Vox article. I didn't read it. I just want to talk about the headline because I'm hearing it parroted by conservatives, seeing influence talking about it, saying we need to ramp up our deportations. We're not even doing as many as Obama. Those stats for Obama, even for Biden, include those that they grabbed across the border illegally immediately and just marched right back over. That is a big chunk of those that they deported. Obama had a very porous border. We know that. He was a part of the group that were disseminating people into sanctuary cities. They were doing that. And that was, that was a thing that they were doing. So we need to think here. The Trump border is significantly better. There are tens and maybe hundreds every once in a while getting across the border, as opposed to tens of thousands under Biden and thousands under Obama. They did not have a closed border. They did not have a secure border. Neither of them. Biden had an awful border where he invited everyone in. Obama wasn't much better. Obama talked tough, but Obama didn't do shit about the border. He put kids in cages. That's about it. He did that. He was the cage master. He did that. But catch and release was a thing under him. Catch and release was an Obama policy. And a lot of people came over the border. And a lot of his numbers were inflated because it was a lot of those that, as they came over, Border Patrol grabbed them, brought them back over. He did deport people, but his numbers were inflated. It's not like he was doing what Trump is doing now. He wasn't going into inner America and going and cracking down and grabbing gang members and moving them. He was not doing that. It was not a systematic plan. He talked tough. He didn't do it. He had the Dreamers, y'all. The Dreamers were under him. That was his act. He let in more illegals than he kicked out. The Dreamers were his. Everyone talks about the 5.2 million that he deported, whatever the fuck it was. A ton of that is you walked across, grabbed you by the collar, put you back. We need to stop comparing Trump to Obama. They are not the same. Trump's border is a secure border. That is a border that is well, guarded. There is patrols. The illegals know they can't just get over anymore. They have to do really tricky shit. And they're trying. Don't get me wrong. The coyotes, they have a business, man. They have a business. They are trying to get people over. They have a lot of money on the line to deliver people in. Not for lack of trying. But Trump has this border as secure. And a part of the big, beautiful bill was securing millions more for the border wall. He wants to finish it. That will help. That will help. But I am tired of hearing, oh, he needs to catch up to Obama. Obama was not a serious deporter. I know the left got on him. Deporter in chief, blah, 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 blah. He deported people that got caught. If you were an illegal immigrant and you got caught like drinking and driving and killed somebody, then he grabbed you and he deported you. He deported the ones that he had to. That's who he deported. In terms of criminals. He wasn't just going and grabbing illegal people on the side of Home Depot just because they're there and deporting them. He wasn't doing that. He was not. He was catch and release was a lot of it too. He did a lot of catch and release. And again, he did the Dreamers. So I'm done, y'all. Stop talking about that. This is a little quick one. I don't want to go crazy. Because like I said, I didn't read the article. But I mean, just stop. Stop being stupid. Whenever anybody brings this up to you, just sit there and look at him and go, there was no border, y'all. There was no border. So, I mean, that's it. And caveatize, Vox is Latin for voice. I didn't know that. I just thought they were stupid. And caveatize again, saying Obama Sin Laden. I like that name. Okay. So I want to get onto this. And I mean, I don't know if I'm going to get to everything, but not this Fox article. Get the fuck out of here. This, it was brought up. I never heard of this before. It's an article from, I believe it's 2 days ago. This is from a place called Notice. Now, I never heard of Notice. Okay. I don't know what this is. I never heard of them before, but it's an article. Trump fired them. Now they're plotting to stop him. Former USAID and State Department officials worried about the future of democracy in America say they are actively organizing to resist Trump inside and outside of the government. So, guys, this is dangerous shit. This is dangerous shit. I mean, it's bad. So let's read it. I haven't read this article yet. So let's see, how long is it? It's not too bad. We'll read some of it. So let's go in this. So this is by Jose Pagliari. Some of the democracy building experts President Donald Trump fired this year from the U.S. Agency for International Development and the State Department are now reapplying the skills and knowledge they built up over decades to undermine Trump's power. Democracy building, aka revolution starting. Keep that in mind. For years, these officials were stationed across the globe, actively supporting opposition movements in autocratic nations. Now they've got time, a network of former colleagues, and a growing sense of moral indignation. So again, this is putting the goose right out there, okay? And again, take this with a grain of salt. This is a guy with people that are going anonymous, okay? So here's a quote. Take it from those of us who worked in authoritarian countries. We've become one, said a currently employed federal official who spoke to notice on a condition of anonymity. They were so quick to disband aid, the group that supposedly instigates color revolutions, but they've done a very foolish thing. You just release a bunch of well-trained individuals into your population. If you kept our offices going and had us play solitaire in the office, it might have been safer to keep your regime. Now, I hope this is a parody article. I hope we find out that Notice is a parody, page, and that all of this is bullshit, and they're just trying to make us look bad. I hope, because this right here, this is sedition. This is sedition. This is treason. Whatever you want to call it. This is what it is. Let's keep going. The former official tells Notice they're holding workshops on a tactic called non-cooperation. They're building a network of government workers willing to engage in even minor acts of rebellion in the office. And they're planting the seeds of what they hope could become a nationwide general strike. Some of the informal network of Trump opponents are sharing an old CIA pamphlet with allies who still work in the government. It's called Simple Sabotage. Quote, widespread practice of simple sabotage will harass and demoralize enemy administrators and police, it says. The saboteur may have to revise his thinking where he formerly thought of keeping his tools sharp. He should now let them grow dull. Surfaces that formerly were lubricated should now be sanded. Normally diligent, he should now be lazy and careless. This is Saul Alinsky. This is Beautiful Trouble. This is all the things that we have talked about on this show. This is all this type of crap. And I can't say we should ignore it. Let's keep going. The community is composed of diplomats and human rights activists who were once on the U.S. government payroll, encouraging Latin American dissidents to fight dictators and supporting African independence movements, aka revolutions, guys. They were revolutionaries. They were involved to varying degrees with the ultimately successful uprising in the Middle East. They're talking about the Arab Spring. The Arab Spring was a leftist revolution. Some have post-government work in academia and not-profits. Others are still looking for jobs. Several have begun moonlighting as strategic advisors to American activists, protest organizers, and federal employees willing to engage in civil disobedience. So, few comments here. Caveat I saying democracy building. Mohsen, this is a ridiculous article, just hyping up desk jockey bureaucrats. The real color revolution specialists weren't furloughed. USAID was diversion of funding. It's absolute parody. Mohsen, I think a bunch of them are still there, but I wouldn't discount that these were the people on the ground actually doing the job. Like, as the higher ups were telling them to go do it, they were executing it. So I don't, one thing, you take leftists at their word. And a bunch of these drones will just do what they're told. And if they're still working with people in the government, they're still being to what they're told. So, I mean, I wouldn't take this unseriously. Squiggles McJr., they made them and loosened them on us. This is a plan. This is, and they are coming out and saying it. One group that has, until this story, remained under the radar, but is starting to play a prominent role in this space is Democracy Aid. It has no website or formal legal entity yet, but it's already hosting invite-only workshops for federal employees who hear about them from friends, vetting each person before they're allowed into a trusted circle and teaching them case studies. Like the Danish underground insurgency against Nazi occupation. The lesson from Denmark is that what starts as office socialization can morph into trusted networks, seemingly uncoordinated work slowdowns, transition into long lunch breaks that annoy the bosses, and everyone goes home to tend to their gardens. The quote, the whole point is to start off slow. People are just taking coffee breaks together, and that's what we're encouraging them to do, said Ro Tochi, who co-leads Democracy Aid. So, I'm going to keep reading, but here's the thing, y'all. Do you want to get some goodwill back, Cash? You want to get some goodwill back, Dan? Pam? Every single worker you fire from USAID comes in for an interview now. Every single one. Without fail. Every single one comes in for an interview, and you kick in their fucking doors like they did to J6ers, okay? And you don't tell them when. You go in there and you take their shit. They want to think you're an authoritarian? Do it. You take their cell phones, you take their laptops, and you bring them in and you study it all. Any of them that are a part of this insurgency gets investigated, gets a trial. Because this is what starts revolutions. This is what starts leftists. This is what starts color revolutions. These types of slight undertows. I know this sounds authoritarian, but when you're dealing with treasonous people and that are giving you reason, right? You got to do it. You got to do it. And sorry about that. For the office workers that are still there, now that this is out, you make the announcement. You will be monitored. Your coffee breaks are on a fucking dime. Your lunch breaks are on a dime. Monitor every single computer, which it should be anyway. There should be no way for them to send messages and do these little meetups and these fucking dumb things without somebody knowing. Everything in the government, in the federal government, the White House, the DOJ, all of it, FBI, CIA, all of these agencies, extra monitoring now. You are now on a tighter ship. They tell us what they're going to do. They brag about it. Let's hold them accountable. Let's keep going. Tucci was previously the director of the USAID Center for Democracy, Human Rights, and Governance. Now she's teaching these workshops on what she calls authoritarianism 101 and ways to resist it. Bring her ass in for questioning. Bring her in for questioning. You're trying to overthrow a government. You talk about a regime. You are trying to overthrow the government. She should be brought in for questioning immediately after this. Immediately. She's given probable cause. Bring her in. Take her shit. Take her shit. Mohsen, this is not worth being concerned about. USAID employees couldn't figure out what bathroom to use, never mind overthrowing Starbucks. That agency was pretty much a shell corporation. Mohsen agreed. But the useful idiots are that. There's always higher ups. There's always people that in USAID were on the top that were leading the worker ants. What you have to understand about these revolutionary things is there are very few people that know the true word, that are the true believers, that know what's going on. The rest are just useful idiots. You need to get this. You need to nip something like this in the bud. When they tell you what they're doing, Mohsen, you got to do it. You got to take them seriously. If they give you a reason to do it, you nip it in the bud now. Like, I get it. I get what you're saying. A bunch of them are morons. But that's the way all of these revolutions work. That's the way leftism works. They are mostly idiots, except for the few on top. But you got to get them. You got to find out who they are. And when they're telling you what they're doing, we know who we fired. Bring them all in. Bring them all in. One by one. Not gracefully either. Not gracefully. Especially this Tucci chick. Former government employee openly saying that she wants to overthrow shit. Fuck that. You're now you're plotting against the government. You're coming in. So let's quote here. Getting people to understand that it's part of the process is the training. She told Notice, it feels silly. Why are we going to get ice cream? You're building up that muscle and that bravery, and you're building up your numbers. Today it starts with 4, but tomorrow it's 10. We're helping them understand that is the organizing, that is the process of to get to a massive strike. So again, you nip this in the bud. You nip this in the bud. We know what they're doing. You nip it in the bud. And you sit there and say, this is strict. If you get a strike, second strike, you get fired, period. Nate's saying, on a lighter note, did you see that Nick Ternasky video? No, I did not. I did not. Mohsen, I don't take him seriously, but let's agree to disagree. Leftism spreads in countries that aren't prosperous. Keep the economy rolling, and these people are just spinning their goofy wheels. Mohsen, you have a point. You have a point, but you got to remember, we potentially only have 4 years of a good economy. Leftists are patient. If the economy is good in 4 years, and for whatever reason, Trump's predecessor, whoever he picks or whoever wins our primary doesn't get elected. Say the Democrats have a decent candidate and they actually win. They convince people it's not out of the realm. They could win in 2028. If you don't nip this shit in the bud now, it ferments. And they are patient. Leftists are patient. They have been working since the 60s to do the long march through the institutions already. They will sit there and make everything seem like it's awful and then ferment this more. But again, Mosin, like I said, I'm fine with agreeing to disagree. And I hope you're right. I hope I'm wrong and I'm just blackpilled. I hope you're right. Let's see if there's anything worth reading here. Democracy Aid is the brainchild of Danielle Reif, another former USA diplomat who's retired from government work in the late 2024. As Trump targeted her former agency this year, she started a group chat on the encrypted app Signal to keep the community together. We started to have really robust, good conversations, and we realized this was not going to be a quick incident. We really needed to start organizing for the longer haul, she told Notice. So blah, 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 blah. So listen, there's names in here that I hope, again, Cash, Dan, you want to gain some goodwill, y'all? Get some names. Get some names and tell them, fuck them, okay? And make sure that they know that this type of shit's not okay. Mosin, No Kings is a product of people of this mindset. It has already fizzled out. Hey, No King's Day was July 4th when we sat there and we told the fucking King of England to kick rocks and we were independent. That's No King's Day. If you want to end on a light note, Google Nick Tarnasky golf course. Drunk dude picks a fight with a retired NHL goon. I don't know if I want to watch. I'll watch that on my own time. I don't want to watch someone get beat up. But that is fantastic. All right. What are we moving on to next? Hey, we're going out to sports. Hooray. So I want to make fun of the Knicks because it's fun to do. So this happened July 2nd. So a few days ago. This was out of nowhere. Out of nowhere. The New York Knickerbockers hired Mike Brown, two-time NBA Coach of the Year as a franchise next head coach. They fired Tom Thibodeau to hire Mike Brown. Let that settle. Let that settle. Is this an upgrade? I don't think so. I don't think this is an upgrade at all. Mike Brown has been chased out of every job he's ever had. LeBron James didn't like him. LeBron James doesn't like most of his coaches. But, I mean, Mike Brown's a good coach. I'm not saying he's a bad coach. Is he the guy that's going to bring your team to the next level? Was he going to be the difference in this Eastern Conference championship this past year? Fuck no. He was absolutely not. Tibbs is a top 10 coach. Yes, he works his guys very hard. He does. He does. He works them hard. And that's his biggest criticism. He works his guy to the bone. His rotation is not good. Good criticism. Fair. Fair. But if you're going to fire one of the better coaches in the league, you better have a fucking backup plan. And their backup plan was Jason Kidd. It was Jason Kidd. It was very well known that Jason Kidd was unhappy in Dallas, or seemingly unhappy. I don't want to say it's well known, but seemingly he wasn't happy there and that he wanted to go somewhere else. And it didn't work out because Nico said no. Nico said, no, I'm not letting him go. We're getting Cooper Flag. We have AD. We have Kyrie. They are, I'm going to bring this up real quick. Mosin saying, hell yes, I love making fun of the Knicks. Nate G saying, rumors Knicks are making a play for LeBron. They are, but also LeBron is potentially interested in going to the Mavs. We could see a massive deal there. So there's that. Caveat ties. I hope Knicks team does well in the sports ball game. Thanks, Caveat. Mosin, they thought Jason Kidd would be an upgrade over Tibbs. Dolan is just an idiot. Dolan forced the firing. No, this was Leon Rose too. Leon Rose came out and said there were things that Tibbs did that were against their philosophy. And it is what it is. Here's the thing. If you want to fire Tibbs, fire him, but have a better plan. And I think Jason Kidd possibly would have been an upgrade. He's been really good since being the fucking Nets. Look, since being the Nets head coach in the Cup incident, he's actually been solid everywhere else he's went. Caveat I saying I was kidding. But I mean, the fact that they had barely any plan makes this worse. You have a limited window. I don't think Jaylen Brown is one of those the rest of his career superstars like type of guys. I think you maybe have another 2-3 years of Jaylen Brown's superstardom. Karl Anthony Towns is good. He is a low tier superstar. He's not a high tier superstar. You need OG Anunoby to take another step. Big time. You need Him take another major step. And Mikal Bridges is a just decent starting player, better fitted to be a sixth man. They had a good signing with Jordan Clarkson. I like Jordan Clarkson. I think that's a good signing for them. They signed another guy I like. I forget his name. He's a foreign dude. But yeah, no. Speaking of the NBA, did you see Ace Bailey's agent? No. What about him? What about Ace Bailey's agent? Talk to me, Nate. Mosin saying the cat trade was their undoing. Had they just kept Randall and paid Hartenstein to match OKC, they would have been way better and gave Indy all they could handle. Tibbs hard on for Jay Hart is odd though. So I will disagree partly. I think Cat's better than Randall, and I think he's an upgrade. Randall is a very streaky type of scorer. He's a good player. I think he took the ball out of Brunson's hands a little too much. Good player, but I think Randall, his welcome was done in New York, so I don't mind the trade. I think Cat was an upgrade. I fully agree on Hartenstein because getting rid of Hartenstein and trusting that Mitch Robinson could stay healthy more than 14 minutes was a huge big thing because Hartenstein would have taken the beating that Cat wouldn't have had to take. Cat now has to get down there and take beatings. He doesn't play well when he has to take beatings and get rebounds and play real defense. You need a big there to take that off him. He's much more of a finesse guy. And Tibbs hard on for Jay Hart. I mean, Josh Hart is a glue guy, and you hope that he can always be the glue guy, but he faltered a little. So yes, there is that. But no, it's the only slight disagree with New Mosin. I think Cat's an upgrade over Randall. But I mean, I agree with you on Hartenstein. He needed to keep Hartenstein. But overall, I don't know what the fuck the Knicks are doing. I don't know what the Knicks are doing. I think this is a goofy thing that they did. I think they kind of went with the best one possible. I actually liked the Dawn Staley potential. I think Dawn Staley actually could have been a decent first female head coach in the NBA. She's been a successful college coach. She knows how to coach. I think the men are okay with her. I think they respect her. Very emotional, and that might have worn down on the grown men, but I don't mind Dawn Staley in that role. I think Becky Hammon has earned the right to potentially get that shot. I think it's only a matter of time before we see a woman, but I didn't mind Dawn Staley as an option. I honestly think Dawn Staley would have been a better shot than fucking Mike Brown. I think you know what you're getting from Mike Brown. I think you know you're going to get another 40 plus wins. I don't think they're going to have a 3 or a 2 seed. We'll see though. We'll see what he does. Mosin, Cat is an A++ on offense and a C- on defense. He's one of the worst drop coverage centers in the NBA quite easily. I agree. You don't pay him for his defense though. And that's why I agree with you with Hartenstein. You get Hartenstein so that he doesn't have to, consistently play center because Cat's natural position is power forward. He's a big, tall power forward. That's his natural spot. So, I mean, they need to still get a big to take a beating for him. I think they whiffed when they didn't get Brook Lopez. I think Brook Lopez would have been great for them. Lopez is a shot blocker. He gives you that wing 3. He's not the best defender, but he's a big body. So I think he would have taken that beating down there at this point in his career. Nate G, makes sense for LeBron. Halliburton and Jason Tatum out for the year. East is wide open. I mean, listen, LeBron's going to do what he does. You are going to have to give up a king's ransom for him to go over to the Knicks. I don't know if the Knicks want to kind of unfold everything. And you're going to probably have to take Bronny. And do you want Bronny? That's the question. Mosin, now Mike Brown is going to get credit for playing more than a 7-8 man rotation in the regular season. Frank Vogel would have been a better hire to build off the Tibbs scheme. I like Frank Vogel. The issue is a lot of these old school coaches have a similar philosophy to Tibbs in terms of how they play. They're all defense first guys. So you're not going to get much difference in terms of style of play. It's not like he's this super young guy that has a new philosophy. It's going to do something different. Like, you're not getting that. So, I mean, we'll see. We shall see. But yeah, making fun of the Knicks is a fun thing because this is a stupid trade. Not a stupid trade, a stupid signing. I think it was awful to get rid of Tibbs ultimately for him. Now, speaking of awful, the U.S. men's national soccer team fucking blows. Now, I know this group is not the original senior group. There was a lot of flack for people like Pulisic and Weston McKennie and stuff taken off. They're saving up for the World Cup. I get it. I hope Giovanni Reina's not there. Giovanni Reina sucks. But this team, they were gritty. I'll give him that. Matt Freese played okay in goal. I don't know if I want him to take Turner's spot right away. There's some people that shouldn't see the field again. Freeman should never play defense for U.S. men's team again. I think Malik Tillman got a lot of. He was in the right place at the right time. I don't think Malik Tillman is that very good. I don't mind Berhalter. Caveat saying soccer is gay. It's an opinion. Wrong opinions are allowed here too. Caveat. Soccer is fantastic, but so they lose to Mexico. Another Gold Cup loss to them, 2-1. Here's what their captain Tim Ream, who's a fucking dinosaur, had to say.
Hostile environment. In the end, it just wasn't enough. What was missing from the performance tonight?
Yeah, I think a little bit of calm in some moments. We started out really well, and then, they obviously get a spell in the game in the second part of that first half. Just a little bit more of a calmness when we won the ball to try to move them around a little bit more. But listen, overall, we're disappointed, obviously, to not come away with a win.
Now, they gave up a goal to the best player in Mexico, someone who you can't give this goal up to, Raul Jimenez. And it was a fucking terrible play, a defensive flub. And they let Mexico pass around them. And it was a great shot off his left foot. That's a guy you can't let score, okay? He's their best player. So saying Megan Rapinoe is gay. Yes, Megan Rapinoe's an asshole. Nobody likes Megan Rapinoe. Only American soccer player I know. It's because she's always in the news for being a dumbass. But you can't let him score. And then they let up the other goal and they lose 2-1. Now, there was controversy here, okay? So here is the controversy. There was a potential handball that should have been called. Now, I'll let you guys decide. I know you guys don't like soccer, but let me know if you think if the player intentionally put his hand on the ball here. And that was inside the 18 penalty box. So a handball would be a penalty shot. So let's see what we got here.
Mario Escobar, great work from Arston, by the way, going past Sanchez. And look, that is a clear hand on the ball.
So that was called not a handball. The referee on the field said it was unintentional. And then they went to their video review, and the video review said it was unintentional. I absolutely think it was a handball. And I think that it should have been called. But I also don't think that should make or break the game. That was in like the 63rd minute. And then the goal came in the 77th minute for Mexico, and that's how they won 2-1. Overall, I'm not happy with this performance with U.S. men's national team. They folded to Mexico. I don't care. It wasn't the group that's normally there. I think Pochettino's a pretty good coach, but we'll see. We'll see if he can bring anything to the American side because Nate's saying Americans play everything but soccer, and that's true. If we focus on soccer, we'd be the best in the world. We're the best athletes on the planet. But we should be better than we are. So that is just that. All right, let's move on because we're already 2 hours in, and I don't want to hang out that long. I don't want to overstay my welcome here. But this is sports-esque. It's on the sports realm. Leah Thomas, who's a dude, has officially been stripped of all his records and has been told to give back his medals and his awards to the NCAA because Trump putting pressure on University of Pennsylvania to tell this guy to fuck off worked. It's awesome that UPenn did this. There was an announcement. I didn't have it, but I just have this on Libs of TikTok. Good on UPenn for doing this. I hope more places follow suit. And that's all I got to say. Fuck Leah Thomas. I forget his dude name, but I'm happy that they got stripped of their shit, that he shouldn't have that. Most in breaking news, Angel Reese named the NBA 2K cover athlete for the women's edition of the game. And for the news part, yes, there's a real edition of the game, and it's not actually a meme. Is there a rebound challenge for Angel Reese where you have to miss your shot a million times? WNBA, do you really want to play chest passes and layups? I don't know. WNBA, they shoot themselves in the foot. And I think it's hilarious that Caitlin Clark still ended up being an all-star captain after the players voted her to the 9th best guard. Listen, I don't watch WNBA. WNBA still is not exciting with Caitlin Clark. I don't care what anyone says. Everybody's fucking lying when they say WNBA is exciting and things like that. Live, women's basketball live is just fine. I used to enjoy watching the women play at Marist. Live, it's different. The game moves much quicker. You see the skill. On TV, it's fucking boring, y'all. You can like it. That's fine. If you like it, you do. I think it's a boring sport on TV. I don't think it's very good. So, the caveat I saying Leah Thomas is gay. Leah Thomas has autogynephilia. It's different. Nate G saying Angel Reese missing the first shot was a lock. Always. I think there's that TikTok that they always bet that she's going to miss the first shot and they celebrate like every single game. But I'm rapid firing a little here because I'm ready to almost get out of here. But this is something that is only relevant to me and I don't care because it's my show. But Grand Slam track, which was a track league that was supposed to have 4 meets, bringing on 96 competitors and had a different plot where they each had to run twice. And it was supposed to be a big event where the best compete against the best. They were supposed to have 4 meets. Not too long ago, they canceled the final meet. They were in financial trouble, and it's been highly rumored that they have not paid their athletes yet. This hurts me, y'all. This hurts me. I do another show called Talking in Ovals. So, I mean, it's all about track. Me and a former coach of mine, we interview people in the world of track and field. And I love track. I've always been a fan. I watch the meets. I'm one of those people. The fact that this failed, and this was supposed to be a big thing for track and field. There were some big names there and things like that. It sucks. It sucks for the sport. It hurts the sport. The fact that he apparently can't pay the athletes, that they couldn't hold the 4th meet, that the second season is hanging by a fucking thread. I think they did a lot of things wrong, but it sucks. There's going to be an all-women's league named Athlos that's led by 3 women gold medalists. Tara Woodall-Davis, who's a gold medalist in the long jump. Sha'Carri Richardson, gold medalist in the 100. And Gabby Thomas, gold medalist in the 200. Olympic medalist, all of them. I'm hoping that works. I'm hoping they have a good league. But as a track fan, this is fucking terrible, y'all. I hate that one of our things failed. And it sucks because Nate, I know you gamble and I know you like sports. I doubt you even knew that this track league was going on. Obviously, Mosin, you like sports. Caveat. Like, I doubt you guys even knew that there was a track and field league. And this is our biggest issue. Our biggest issue in the world of track is I know because I'm a trackie. Nobody else fucking knows. Nobody else cares about a track league. So it's disturbing. It sucks. I wanted to bring it up. I know nobody cares. But this is my show, damn it. And I can bring up things that nobody cares about. So I want to get to the last 2 things. I'm going to fly through them a little bit because, again, I'm tired, but I want to talk about them. So here is a tab. This is about soups. We're heading to some nerdy stuff. So End Wokeness has Sean Gunn on the new Superman movie. It's about how we support immigrants, and if you don't like it, you're not American. So little caveat here. So real quick, caveat ties. My middle son does the 400 pretty good and is only a freshman. Curious if he can put in effort and try to really compete. Caveat, what's his time as a freshman? If you know his personal time, I'll tell you where he needs to be in order to start being competitive. And you're by the Gulf. So you're in a pretty competitive hotspot for track. Nate saying I did not. And that's a problem when a big sports fan, a person who likes gambling, doesn't know that there's another league that popped up with professional athletes. Caveat tie saying I don't pay attention too much to sports besides football. Okay. Makes sense. Caveat. So I'm going to go on caveat while you enlighten me on your son's time. But so I was going to do my little quick thing. So I have been talking up soups. I've been happy about soups. All the things coming up with the new Superman movie have looked good until the red carpet shit started. I know people have gone out and seen it. I haven't seen anybody's reviews yet. I know Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers went and saw. I know Epic Mike's seeing it tonight, I believe. So there's a people going out and seeing it. But I don't know if I want to see it anymore. And there's reasons here. So caveat is just under a minute somewhere. That's not bad. If he can, South Dakota, not that South Dakota, not that much competition. I mean, any state, if he can get it close to that 50-second threshold, if by high school, if he's like near like 52, 51, he'll be in pretty good shape. And he'll really compete at that level. So, Yellow Flash said it's really good. Okay. Yellow Flash said it was good. I'm happy to hear that. I'm happy to hear some people I trust saying it was good. But here's what I don't like about it. Let's watch what Sean Gunn had to say.
It is exactly what the movie is about, I think, that like we support our people, you know? We love our immigrants. Yes, Superman is an immigrant. And yes, the people that we support in this country are immigrants. And if you don't like that, then you're not American.
So we know Sean Gunn is an idiot. Okay? We know that. We know Sean Gunn's an idiot. We know James Gunn's an idiot. But that's the type of stuff that pisses me off. And now that reporter that was there, the variety reporter, is an asshole and asked these super loaded questions to get super loaded answers to get these clickbait stuff. I get it. And we're reacting to it. Superman is not an immigrant. Superman is not a story of immigrants. It's not. It's not at all. I was watching Geeks and Gamers, and Savvy said it best. It was about a story of adoption, of him being adopted and him being accepted and him being taken in by the human race because he's a human. He's a humanoid looking thing that's not human, and just him aligning, coming into this race, and then loving the people enough to risk himself to save it over and over and over and over and over again. He's not an immigrant. It's not an immigration story. It's so stupid. I can't stand it. Caveat saying he doesn't try very hard. He's super talented, but super unmotivated. He's young, caveat. He's a freshman. It's tough. The motivation may come, but he's young. Don't go crazy on him. He's okay. I promise. So Nate saying Sean Gunn is an idiot. James said it. Gunn said it's for everyone. I mean, he said some things too already though. But again, he gets that reporter gets these type of questions. I'm curious to see how the reviews come out because I was generally excited for this movie. Hearing things like that, I don't know if I want to see it. I might wait. I may wait now. I might not go see it in theaters. I want to go see it in theaters. I may wait. There is the immigrant stuff, the super shit stuff. I mean, it's one thing after another, after another, after another. They just can't help but shoot themselves in the foot when it comes to this stuff. And I'm like, I'm tired. I'm tired of having to deal with their shit. Mosin, he may have questioned everyone's masculinity along with how American they are while he was at it. What a complete goofball. Yeah. Sean Gunn's a moron. But let's get to my last topic. And considering I'm an idiot and I took off my share screen, let me go and do this because this was also a thing I was looking forward to seeing. You want to know why? You want to know why, everybody? Because there's an alien named Questa in the movie Elio. When I went to go watch, I forget what movie it is. It was a kid's movie. They were showing the preview for Elio. And there's an alien named Questa. Now, it's spelled wrong. It's spelled with a Q. But damn it, I wanted to go see a movie with my last name in it. As a name. But this type of dumb shit. Again, I'm happy that it seems like Pixar learned something. But let's read from Discussing Film. Pixar massively changed Elio after the original cut was test screened, and not a single person raised their hand when asked if they'd pay to see the movie film in the movie theater. Elio was initially a queer-coded character until leadership told them to make it more masculine. Now, apparently, this led to LGBTQ people getting mad and walking out, and it was supposed to have a crush on a dude, and I mean, and there was supposed to be like a fashion show that he puts on. It was supposed to be this whole thing where they bring a message out and they try to like subliminally talk. But it's like, I'm happy that the test people were okay enough to realize it's okay to not go along with this shit. Because I feel like there was a time in the past where people were afraid to be singled out for being the one that didn't appreciate the gayness, didn't appreciate the queer. So they all raised their hand to be accepted. And I'm also happy that Pixar was smart enough to sit there and go, hey, this ain't working. And the top went and said, get the gay shit out. He's a child. Get all that out. It's a space story. So I'm happy. I'm happy they changed it. I still may go see that one because even if there was gay shit in it, they have an alien named Questa. I have to go see it. It's like a must. Questa, me. That's me. I have to go. It has to happen. So might go see that this weekend. If I see it this weekend, I'll let everyone know how Elio was. Caveat: if I see it this weekend, I'll leave a review for you. How's that sound? I'll leave a criticals review if I go see it. Sound good? Sound like a plan? We'll make a deal there. So let me get to a few more. Caveat Ty saying, I don't think the movie is preachy at least. Yeah, but I'm tired of that stuff too in reference to Superman. I agree. I'm just tired of these people just not shutting the fuck up and just letting the films do what they do. Nachi saying my kids loved it, but not as much as Minecraft. I'm okay with them as long as they like it. I think my kids will like it too. The previews look cool. The previews look cool. It didn't look bad at all. So Elio isn't gay though, and that said, but taking it out made it nothing. So, but again, I might still go see it. And like I said, caveat: if I go see it, I'll go leave a review on Criticalist, and I'll give my honest opinion for how it is, and how I feel it is. But outside of that, I'm spent, y'all. It's past midnight here. Been going for 2 hours and almost 20 minutes. I'm spent. I'm always happy to jump on though and do this. Cool when David's here, but sometimes it's fun to just yik yak and you guys in the chat, McSquiggles, Nate, Mosin, Caveat. I appreciate you all. Even we had fact check pop in, and we had a random individual, the Sander Clegane, come in. Like all you guys, I appreciate you all. You guys are fantastic, and you guys make these types of streams easy. I remember when I used to do them, and I didn't have anyone. I didn't have anyone until, we had Rob on, and then Nate jumped on, and a few more people jumped in, and you guys have started to become pretty much regulars. And you guys make these shows so much easier to do because your interaction and all the comments and the fact checks you guys do on me and the back and forth. I mean, I appreciate you all. My OGs, you guys are my day ones, but scare quotes, but appreciate you guys. Everyone, thank you for saying good show, Caveat, Nate, Mosin, I appreciate you guys, like I said. So I'll be back next week. There is a guest next week. Dave will be back next week. I think you guys will enjoy the guest. My sports fans will definitely enjoy this guest. So definitely come around. You'll enjoy it. Yeah, wherever you watched it from, if you're Kick, Rumble, Facebook, X, YouTube, we appreciate you guys. Make sure you're following if you're not already. Give a good review. And if you're listening to this later via podcast form, 5 stars, leave a comment. All those types of things help. So I will be back next week. As always, if I feel so inclined, like I said, if I go see Elio, maybe I'll do a pop-up show, talk a little bit about Elio, gather some news. We'll do something like this again. Maybe Dave will pop on with me. But everyone, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you all. So long, y'all.